Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the 10th anniversary celebration of Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder and starring Henry Cavill and company. I am your host, Ryan of Neuroculture, and our panelists, our roundtable of Superman fans to a really nth degree, are some incredible people. Joining us first, he is one half of what is known as the Krypton Report podcast. Boy, that sounds like a Superman reference if I ever heard one. Please welcome Tyler. Tyler, what's going on, my man? It's been a while.
Hey,
How are
it
you?
has been a while. I'm good, man. I'm good. I got my tea and my Man of Steel mug here. I'm not exactly cold, but I have my Man of Steel comforter right here wrapped around me. So just getting in the groove here for this watch. Good.
Rock on, man. Well, we're happy that you are with us. Thank you so much for being here. And also joining us tonight is the antagonist to your Superman, and that would be Lex Luthor himself. Austin's in the building. What's up, Austin?
How dare you support that boy in blue, that Boy Scout, that outsider? I stand with the humans. How's it going, everybody?
Sounds good.
Oh, my goodness. Someone clearly has gotten the message of staying in character is key.
Well, how do you think I came in third in so many contests, not having the greatest costume, but cutting the promo? The all-important promo on stage, being in character when everybody else just answers the straight question. Oh, hi, everybody. Happy to be here. No, when I cut a promo about wanting to be president of the world, as Lex Luthor, it goes a long way with the judges. So, yes.
Boy, this man's got some impressive skills. There's no doubt about it. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for being here. And also, if this is your first time here, welcome. We are going to be watching the movie known as Man of Steel momentarily. But before we hit the play button, we're going to give you a moment to queue up your copy on a physical media or streaming service. And we're also going to give you the opportunity to get to know our panelists just a little bit better. So I'm going to turn things over to Tyler here for a minute. Tyler, what was your experience like seeing the movie known as Man of Steel way back when in 2013?
Well, I had bought my tickets the moment they went on sale. Here's my picture. Can't see too much. There's my homemade Superman costume. Real quick, I threw on, and I wore it. You can kind of see. It's hard to see. Like I got my tip of my Superman tattoo pops out there. Wore that when I went to see it. We did not get the Walmart Advantage tickets. I tried to get there when they went on sale to see it like a couple hours earlier, back when you had to wait 7 p.m. on a Thursday was like a big deal. And I think the Walmart was like at 5 or 6 or something, because I think we went at like 7 something to see it. I have my ticket stub back there in the cabinet, but it was me, my friend Matt, my wife, and my mother-in-law all went and saw it. We went to the IMAX, of course. You can't not go to the IMAX. So.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. And thank you for sharing that with us. And it's funny you bring up the Walmart thing, which I'll get to here in a minute. But Austin, I'll get to that in a minute. Trust me. Austin, what was your experience like seeing the movie known as Man of Steel 10 years ago in 2013?
Well, funny you should say that, because I also dressed up on June 16, 2013 to go see Man of Steel in IMAX. And I sent Ryan a picture. Maybe he'll be able to pull it up at some point. But I also dressed up as Clark Kent Superman, did more of the Clark Kent thing with the Superman underneath, dyed my hair black for it, the whole shebang. It was a good time that night. It was like an 8 o'clock IMAX, something like that. Just being super hyped for it. I was ready for a new take on Superman. I was already a big Zack Snyder fan from Dawn of the Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead and 300. Watchmen I thought was great. And so I was already a big Snyder fan. Thought he was like the perfect guy to kind of bring this into into a new era. And he's still one of my favorite filmmakers, and I love his trilogy. I think it's really, really great stuff. And love the movie. It's in my top 100 favorite films of all time. Love this movie to death, and can't wait to talk about it tonight as we watch along.
Wow. All right. I like it. Thank you for sharing that with us. So for me, I remember hearing rumblings about this movie being made. They said, hey, we're going to take things in a bit of a new direction. We have plans to put together maybe something known as a DC Cinematic Universe to go toe-to-toe, potentially with the MCU. And when I saw the teaser trailer, that was a minute and a half long. There were two different versions of it. One was Russell Crowe's narration. The other one was Kevin Costner's. And I remember watching these trailers and thinking, oh my gosh, this is really good looking. And I knew who Zack Snyder was. I saw 300. I liked it, didn't love it. Saw Watchmen, and no, thank you. I thought to myself, this is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my life. But this movie specifically, Man of Steel, looks fantastic, and also with Christopher Nolan being involved, I thought, yeah, we're going to get something here. I think we're going to get something here. We're going to get something. And then the next trailer came out that was 2.5 minutes long, and I loved that even more. And then the 3-minute trailer came in with the theme by Hans freaking Zimmer. And I thought, if this marketing campaign is great, I just hope the movie lives up to that. And for me, in 2013, I went to Walmart, got the ticket, saw it a few days before, the general public was able to see. I got a bit of a sneak preview, guys. And I got to tell you, I walked out of that theater thinking, this is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, period. I think it's one of the best cinematic experiences that I have had in my life up to that point. Seeing it with fans, seeing it new and old alike was fantastic. And then seeing it again, and then I saw it again, and then I saw it again. I ended up seeing it 5 times in the theaters back then in 2013. And that should tell you something. That means that I love this movie. I think it's incredible. I think Henry Cavill is # like a boss as Kal-El. I think he's like a boss. I thought Russell Crowe killed it as Jor-El. I thought Kevin Costner was fantastic. Diane Lane was wonderful as Martha. Fantastic. Basically, everything about this movie was fantastic, and it lived up to the hype. And then some, brothers and sisters. Oh, yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel. Can you believe it's been 10 years already? That is nuts to me.
It's weird to think about. Yeah, these movies that turn 10 or 20
50.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's very strange. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a 10-year-old movie. It still feels very fresh. Obviously, we're getting kind of these flashbacks to it. See what I did? With the new Flash movie. That they're clearly harping back to Man of Steel in this one with Michael Shannon and the destruction of Metropolis. Like it's going to be interesting to see. So it'll be nice to rewatch this, this week going into that movie. I wouldn't be surprised if I popped on, BVS and the Snyder cut, before it as well. I'm sure I would have anyways, but this will put me right in the mood, right back for that.
Valid point. Yeah, we got that Flashpoint movie that everyone's talking about coming out very soon. So yeah, that's going to blow some people's minds, I'm sure. But for those of you who are just joining us, we are going to watch the movie Man of Steel here. Cue it up to the 3-second mark. That's where we're going to start it as the Warner Brothers logo and some of the other graphics are starting to materialize. So, gentlemen, without any further ado, you guys ready for this? Because Lord knows I'm ready. Tyler, are you ready over there? I think he is, even though he's muted himself.
I'm at the 3-second mark. I'm ready.
I'm trying to get it to the 3-second mark.
You've had one job this entire time, man.
Well, it doesn't want to.
My voodoo had to reload as well. Like I hit play and it took a second.
It's fine.
Reload. It's all good. I'm ready though.
All right. Well, Austin's ready. The question is Tyler ready? That's what I want.
3 seconds. I'm seeing the part of the B starting to.
That metallic logo, starting to come into frame.
All the things with that incredible score by the incredible Hans Zimmer. So with that being said, for those of you joining us, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel. We're going to start the movie in 3, 2, 1, and hit play.
Hey, all right.
Warner Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers. Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, Warner Brothers as a studio turns 100 this year.
It does.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And you're talking about 10-year anniversaries. Like that year, 2013 was a big year for me and my wife. Just like we had moved states. We had a lot of other things happen. It was the 10-year from when I went on Comic Book Men, but my scene never made it to air. But we went and did that, in that summer. So like, it was a lot of cool stuff that happened. So like, it's kind of a re-celebration of just like this year of looking back at 10 years and what's happened in between. So,
and no, just as a Godzilla fan, a year later, they rebooted Godzilla with that 2014 Godzilla film.
We'll do that next year.
I should guy, yeah. I still like that movie, but oddly enough, as the Godzilla fan, and as a quick side note, the best movie in that MonsterVerse, Kong Skull Island.
You think so?
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You think Skull Island's the best?
All right, let's hold this conversation. I like this conversation, but not now.
No, I mean, well, hey, listen, we tend to get off the rails here sometimes on these shows, but I will say this though. The way, and for those of you who are joining us and being here with us celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the most underrated comic book movie in the history of cinema known as Man of Steel, we are feel free to share your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, your fun facts. Ask us questions about it in the comments. Leave us anything and everything in the live chat. Whether you're joining this live or on the replay, thank you so much for being here. The thing I love about this movie is it knows what it's going for, and it opens the movie like right from the get-go. The score. The score just hooks you so much. And also the birth that we're seeing here of Kal-El and the emotion between Jor-El and Laura, and how like they're overcome with so much emotion, and for good reason.
I will say,
amazing.
To me, Kal-El should always be born on Krypton before being sent. That is one thing I did not like in the John Byrne reboot is the Matrix, because there's something more powerful about holding your child
and having to say goodbye to that kid.
And you know, physically. Like when the night my son was born, I was up with him, holding him, and the only movie I had downloaded on my iPad, because we had my internet kept going out on it, was this. So I laid there watching this.
Dude, that's awesome.
With my son newborn on my chest, kangaroo carrying, and I'm like, it was like a whole new way of watching the Superman, you know, story come to, like, okay, the idea, if I just held this kid and all of a sudden I gotta put him in something and let him go, like that's a bigger emotional beat than this genetic box that will have some child of mine. But
dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us, Tyler.
It's gonna be hard to try to share cool stuff as we watch this. Okay,
as we see the boss Michael Shannon coming into a scene, just bossing it up as General Zod.
I just want to say, like, his suit's computer generated, and then Feora's next to him is a real suit.
Yeah,
like, why? I don't know, but
the visual effects are great in this. For all the suits, I mean, you get. I mean, when you see the behind the scenes, you see it's all like, you know, what do you call it? CGI, it's green screen, but whatever. But the suits, I mean, the way Krypton, like, because we never got this much of Krypton in any of the other movies. We never got this much Krypton, and for them to go to this length, the first, not to give anything away here for those of you just tuning in, the first 15 minutes of this movie is nothing but Krypton, and I freaking love that, because I've always wanted to know more about this planet and its culture, and why they, like, you know, try to harvest from the core, and like Jor-El is a scientist, and, you know, Zod's the general, and then we find out more about why he's doing what he's doing. Well, like, it's, I love it so much. I dig
the tech, the kind of way the metallic-y, kind of liquidy tech, you know, like how things form, you know, out of like the keys that form out of like kind of the liquidy, you know, substance and stuff. And and like all the different creatures we get to see flying around, him flying on in his little, you know, dragon creature, you know.
Oh, that's my Facebook friend right there, Richard Citrone, right there.
Yeah, there you
go. Great stunt, man.
But yeah, no, I love the stuff about the Codex and how everybody on Krypton is born with like a purpose, you know, that feeds into later with Zod's, you know, motivations on his thing. Because you can kind of see, again, you know, great villain, you see their point of view, or at least you don't have to agree with it, but you at least see where they're coming from as far as, you know, and his breakdown and his madness when his purpose is done for, you know, you totally get it. Good stuff.
I had a friend who we were talking. He was like, could you imagine a Superman trilogy where the first film is just Krypton?
I would have been fine with that.
And the last shot is his rocket blasting off.
Hey, if it's Russell Crowe in this cast, I'm there.
Like,
man.
if it's Russell Crowe and company for 2 hours or like an hour 45, like, dude, sign me up, because Russell Crowe can carry a movie. I mean, especially one like this. Like, he can totally carry it.
Yeah,
Haraka.
No, I remember being in the theater watching this in IMAX, and you see that reveal and the Hans Zimmer music, dun dun, and I was just like, I looked at my buddy, I was like, is this the greatest movie ever? And we're like 5 minutes into the movie, or I should say, Ryan Permison, we are 5 minutes and 43 seconds into the movie right now.
Thank you.
Timestamp for anybody just joining us. We're coming up on the 6 minute mark here. If you'd like to join us.
Last time I watched this film was a couple months ago. My father-in-law had gotten this Dolby home speaker system, but he didn't want to hook it up. So he gave it to me, and I gave him my sound bar. And the first movie I watched with this Dolby was me and Solomon and Sayla watched Man of Steel. And we were about 3/4. We were at the Battle of Smallville when my wife came home. So I paused it, and I had her, like, I was timing. I was like, oh, look at the speakers. And like, it was like, I hit play, and it was just like, she was like, oh my God. Because it was just poof, like you could feel it throughout the house. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to test it on. It's like that Jurassic Park.
I watched
something we
Jurassic
talked
Park
about
today with
recently.
the speakers.
Yeah,
for the
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
speakers,
did you?
no.
Did you do it
Oh,
for
come
its,
on.
30th birthday?
Come on,
It
the
did.
bass. You crank that bass up, and even in the opening, doom, like
That's
even
why
that
I
stuff's
wanted to try it.
great.
That was my first
Oh,
like
it's
I
the
want to.
best. Oh
Okay,
yeah,
so this codex thing, like
yeah.
I feel it's one of the subplots that doesn't quite get flushed out enough. Like, because it looks like a skull, and I feel like there's history to this. Like, you don't just do this without getting, like somewhere with the plan of diving into the storyline. So I felt like it was a little.
Well, it's just weird about the whole thing. It is a little, because no movie's like completely perfect, and I agree with you. Like, it's weird about the codex being put into Kal-El is
Yeah.
weird. Like I would be okay if there was some significance to that skull and it got put on the ship with him. Like, I get that, and they're
Yes.
after like the actual object, to be your MacGuffin, so to speak, for Zod to chase after. That makes sense, and that's why he's so obsessed with finding the ship, where he landed and all that jazz. And that would make sense. But yeah, but the kind of like the essence being put into him, I don't know if that gets played out at any point in any of the other, even in the other movies. Like, yeah, or if that makes unless
There
they
was
just want
supposed
to
to be
harvest, they
something.
want to harvest his DNA or something. But it's very
Yeah.
vague. Yeah, it's very
I
vague.
think I like that, the crushed moon,
Yeah.
because that's a reference to the comic books about Jack Zur,
Mm.
destroying Krypton's moon.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt like it was. Like, oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
like building in history of like the comics. And
Would it be weird if, like, here on Earth, we just looked up every night and the moon had been hit by something and there's just the pieces like floating off and there was like a crater in the moon? Like, wouldn't it be
yes,
fascinating? You know what I mean? Just to look at every night.
it would
If
be.
that happened. I mean, because that could happen. An asteroid could smash into the moon and, just pieces floating around. It'd be something.
I didn't bring this up in the beginning, right as we were starting the movie, but I will say this: as soon as the movie came out, and this is going back to 10 years, Old Navy was selling T-shirts in promotion to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in there and I found the last one in my size, and it's got the emblem, the name of the
Nice.
film, and the June 2013 written. And I thought, if I don't buy this shirt now, this is going to be gone.
Yeah.
So
The best-
I'm very happy that I came prepared for this, and I'm wearing the correct suit.
Mm-hmm.
So
See, I will
makes
show
me so
you
happy.
later, but like I'm wearing the BVS version because
Oh,
the
nice.
Man of Steel one I loved, and I still have the symbols. I cut it out of the shirt because my dog jumped up and tore it.
Oh,
So like,
dude.
I had a
Bad
slash
dog.
down it.
Are you
And
serious?
my wife got it for me at Hot Topic, and it was like the most comfortable, softest t-shirt material I've ever. And like, I think I have a picture of me wearing it.
Please bring that up, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
By the
call
way,
it?
I
Yeah.
watched this movie a couple days ago to get ready for this. Hey, spoiler alert, I watched this movie before we actually did the celebration part of it. But here's the deal. I got I was starting to cry when she had to say goodbye to Kal-El. And I was also crying when she actually launched him into space, and then 2 minutes later, her what's the robot's name? Kedor
Telex.
says, "Hey, Lady Lara, shouldn't you find refuge? There is no refuge, Kedor. This is the end. Like, this is it. This
Yeah.
planet's done."
And they hit like that violin like music, and it's
Yeah,
very
and then she says,
emotional.
"Make a better world than ours, Cal." And I'm just like, I'm starting to like cry, and I'm thinking, I've never been this overcome. Like, very few movies have made man tears, but like I'm like starting to cry and feel like really bad for these two people, because saying goodbye to your kid and sending him off billions of miles, light years away is crazy. It was like to lose your planet and then you just die off. Like, it's sad. And by the way, the actress, I forget the actress's name who plays Lara. Is it? Is it Ayelet Zurer?
Yeah, I'm not going to try it, dude. I'm not going to try it.
Yeah, it's very unpronounceable. All
All right, sorry. So, by the way, the actress who's watching this, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, but both of them do, but like her in particular, she does an incredible job as Lara. I mean, she just nails it. She is so incredible in this.
Yeah. Have you either one of you guys ever seen the old SNL sketch with Sam Kinison where he plays Jarrell?
No.
You ever seen that?
I haven't. I've never even knew that existed. So
yeah, so it's not on the official. You can see like a version of it on Daily Motion or something like that. Because I did an SNL show for a while with Jordan over on Movie Hero, and we reviewed that episode.
This is cool. It's all
Yeah.
CG
Oh my
right
god.
there.
Yeah, totally. But he plays Jor-El, and they're having the earthquakes, and he sends Kal-El up in the little ship. On the set, it kind of goes up, and he's embracing his wife. Here it comes, honey. I love you so much. They're preparing to die, and then it just stops, and it's over. He's like, no, I'm sure there'll be a aftershock any second. It's coming. That was just the war. It's coming. And she's like, "You idiot! you sent our kid away and it stopped." Like he's completely wrong. And it's the 5 minutes of aftermath of the wife yelling at him. What was I supposed to do? All my calculations said he was going to leave. It's worth looking up if you can find it.
I will
online.
look it up.
Funny. Yeah, Sam Kinison as Jor-El. It's pretty funny.
Can we just point out real quick here, Michael Shannon, his clean shavenness?
Yeah,
that's how they show that Zod has aged over time. Yeah. If you look at it through like when he comes out of the Phantom Zone and everything.
Oh yeah.
He's got a goatee.
He's got a goatee.
Got that gray goatee.
And it's salt and pepper too. It's not just like pepper. It is salt and pepper. It is showing his age.
Here we go. Here is my Man of Steel shirt. Last time I wore it was at my son's baby shower before he's born.
Oh.
So yeah, I love that shirt.
That's awesome. That's cool, man.
I got no wait. Last time I wore it was shortly after I met Jason Momoa.
Shortly after you met Aquaman?
Yeah, I wore it specifically because I was going to meet Aquaman. He was supposed to be in BVS. Okay, this is one of those scenes in here.
Movie, I didn't know if I had ever heard the word heresy. That is a cool word.
This is one scene I don't
Look
like.
Look at the cut he gets on his face, though, man. Like he just lambasted him with that rifle.
Yeah.
I don't like this scene as it is because we go into this movie later where Zod's talking about genetically engineered for certain jobs. I would have preferred to done this scene where Jor-El's like fighting for his life and Zod's toying with him. Then Jor-El gets like one lucky punch and it pisses Zod off. Because the whole point of Zod's like, I'm grown to be like the ultimate soldier. So this dude who is genetically engineered to be a scientist is whipping him. I don't buy it in this context.
At the same time, though, to counter that, Zod doesn't have to do a lot of his own fighting most of the time, so maybe he's a little rusty.
I mean, Codex is Krypton's future.
He is the general. He's not the foot soldier.
Maybe
he's just punching the orders.
I'm just saying, like,
to be fair, he may be a little rusty in his hand-to-hand combat. I'm just saying. So,
man, Zod is pleading with Laura, don't do this.
I do like the idea of like the Phantom Drive, like as a wormhole, like an opening thing. So like
in space, yeah.
So instead of him being like in a spaceship for like 3 years, like it's almost instantaneously when he gets to Earth.
Oh, Jor-El just got stabbed.
Man. It's like when Kevin Spacey shanks Brandon Routh on that rock and Superman Returns.
Wait, did that movie ever happen though?
I mean, it happened. I don't watch it a lot. It's boring.
No. I'm just joking because I don't hate Superman Returns. I don't hate it in any stretch of the imagination. It's just here's my 2 cents about Man of Steel. And granted, we're still staying on topic, audience. We're still keeping it on the Man of Steel train. So here's the thing. And Brandon, I know you watch our show, and I like you a lot. I met you at a Comic-Con. Very nice man, Brandon Routh. So here's the deal. That movie's heart may have been in the right place. It's just that the story and overall, the movie didn't serve Brandon's abilities. Like, Brandon could have carried it. Like, I would have liked to have seen him do another film, if not 2 more, just to see if he could, because there is potential with him as an actor. And there's very much potential with him as Kal-El. But the movie just didn't serve him and his fellow castmates as well as it could have. But other than that, once in a blue moon, because I did rewatch Superman Returns. I rewatched it during, the lockdown, because I actually bought the 9 film collection that includes all the Superman and the Batman movies on Blu-ray. Nice. Yeah, I did that, Tyler. I did that. So I went back and I watched the movies and I realized, you know what? Superman Returns it's all right. There's some things about it I like. Obviously, there are things that I don't. But overall, I thought there was potential here. And they just never got the chance to, move forward with that.
I feel like Superman Returns and Man of Steel are connected like this as being like thesis and antithesis of each other. Like one went one way, one went the other way.
Oh, yeah, 2 very different tones, too.
It's like, they needed to so
You'll throw us into a black hole for an eternity. Jor-El was right. You're a pack of fools.
Oh, his speech is great.
Dude, his lines are great. Like Michael Shannon is so freaking. And by the way,
right here,
I will find him, Laura.
I will find him.
I will reclaim what you have taken from us.
I'm trying to remember. I had seen Shannon in something before this, and I'm trying to remember what it was because I know like after he was cast, like I went down was hunting down anything.
You know, the only thing I knew him from off the top before I started recognizing him in other movies, I was like, oh, he's like the asshole who beats on Kim Basinger in 8 Mile.
Oh God, dude, 8 Mile. Dude, I just saw 8 Mile like during the lockdown, and I was like, dude, is that Shannon?
It's Michael Shannon, yeah. I mean, he's got good stuff. He's in Reservation or Revelation.
You mean Reservation? Is it Reservation Road?
Whichever one, the DiCaprio Kate Winslet movie.
Yeah. Oh, Revolutionary Road.
Revolutionary Road. Yeah. And he's really good in that. He's not in.
By the way, Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah.
I saw him in Take Shelter.
Yeah, he's good in that.
Mm-hmm. What was the one where he had a kid who was an alien or had special abilities?
Like Midnight Special.
Midnight something. I didn't see that.
Dude, that was a good performance, by the way.
I like the little nod they do to the original movie here, though, where it opens up into like a triangle before it closes up. I do like that for the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
If you see it, if you look close, it kind of right here pulls open into the triangle.
Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Which I should say, Ryan Permison is happening at the 17-minute and 55-second mark, which is where we're at in Man of Steel. If you'd like to watch along with us,
yes, please do. Queue up your copy on a physical media or a streaming service. We are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel, and for those of you who are watching, whether you're live or on the replay, thank you for being here. Leave any and all your thoughts in the comments section. Leave us something in the live chat. We'd be more than happy to bring it up on screen, read it out loud for you. More than happy to do it. We appreciate all of you being here. This has been, we're only 18 minutes into this movie, and I'm loving this conversation because we've taken this conversation to like so many different avenues.
And here's the part that makes Ryan Permison cry, where she's watching the destruction of Krypton and they hit the music.
I'm surprised we don't get any kind of cutaway of like the council or anything.
I don't think you need it. I don't think it's necessary in this.
Laura was the most important.
Stick with Laura, I like the fact.
If you stick with Laura and like her place, like it's just more important that way.
It is.
Great.
Look at this.
Here.
The violin.
God, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
By the way, Romello D. Malone chimes in. He says, Man of Steel is my favorite Superman movie, along with Superman 78 and Superman 2 and Superman 2, the Donner cut that was, released in 2006, which is the same year that Superman Returns came out. And Henry Cavill is my second favorite Superman on screen, along with Christopher Reeve. And I like Zack Snyder and his vision and for the character within the DCEU.
Now, see, fans, you can be a fan of both the Christopher Reeve Superman and the Zack Snyder Superman.
Yes, you can.
And appreciate them both for what they do and their different takes. And they're both fine. We can all get along, people. You don't have to say one is horrible and one is great. You can like both of them. It's okay.
You're talking about Snyder. Like, the one thing to point out about this movie is he's using a new DP that he hadn't worked with. And he's using different camera work and styles. Like, in a way, he's kind of abandoned at this time what he's known for, like what you think of, like the slow-mo and stuff.
Yeah.
When he did this film. So it was definitely him taking his directing in a different style.
Right. Those little zoom-ins he does throughout the movie where he zooms in on something like in the background and kind of zooms in on it really quick. I like those little touches.
And one of the things we're going to learn about here in the next few sequences that take place within this movie, Man of Steel. What I really like about this is that the filmmakers, the people who made this film, wanted to take the character in a different kind of direction because we've seen him do so many different things.
This right here, Ryan. Do you think he had to fake this? He had to fall over because that guy shouldn't have been able to tackle him. Like, did he like look up and see the guy and like, oh man, I got to fall into this, or else that guy would have been like, pff.
Well, maybe. But what I'm saying is, one of the things there are many things I love about this movie, but one of the things I really like is that they go forward. They don't have him land in Smallville. He grows up as a little kid, and then you see him in school, and then he's trying to hit on Lana, whatever it is. Like they just go straight forward. 33 years later, it's like, hey, he's a grown man, and he's on his own, and he's doing, odd jobs to figure out what his purpose is in life, and I just love it. Like I've never seen him do stuff like this in the movies. Like he's working on a longshoreman boat. He does other odd jobs. He's like a bar, what is it, like a bar back or something. Like it's great. I love this about him because it's so
I love this.
different from anything else we've seen from the character.
General Zod. They're Supergirl's General Zod, known for 2 shots in the entire series, right there.
Wait,
you ever like take a really hot shower and come out steaming and just feel like you're that scene right there?
Was that Supergirl's Zod?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy in the hard hat? That was him?
He's in exactly 2 shots in the series.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was not aware of that. Okay.
Are you going to have fun pointing out all the people from Smallville in this movie as we go through it, Ryan?
Well, I only noticed one person from Smallville in this movie. I didn't know there were more than one.
Amy Adams.
Well, yeah, but like,
there's
yeah, you're right. Yeah, Amy Adams is obviously there's 2 of them. There's Amy Adams, and then there's a scientist on the base.
And then there's the Lex Luthor clone, and then the guy that plays Bernstein. He was in Smallville.
Was he?
Yeah.
But Bernstein was it? Woodward was in it? Oh,
and geez. I think there's a few more too in a couple of spots.
Okay, I only noticed Amy Adams and the scientist guy on the ice base.
It'll be fun.
Boy, you're okay. There's more Easter eggs in this movie than I thought.
Oh, just like Baby Kal-El from Superman 78's in it.
Yeah, he's one of the soldiers at the when he's handing himself off to Zod. Yeah, that part I do remember.
That's good. See, I love this camera work right here. Like it's like,
different.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's so different. And then he's like, the music.
Yeah.
The score. I cannot get enough of the score.
Working in schools, like this teacher is kind of a douche.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, I asked you who settled it first in Kansas. Can you not tell us?
I mean, obviously, can you not look at the kid's face? Like when she
But she does look concerned for him. She's like, are you okay, Clark? Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah, after a minute, like.
I used to hate teachers that be like, you
right here.
Are you feeling all right, Clark?
We're spaced out or something, or we're not paying attention, and they would go, do you have an answer to that, Ryan Permison? Do you have an answer? What do you have to say about this subject? And it's like, lady, I was daydreaming. Like, I'm a kid. I'm 7 years old. Like,
we're 7 years old. What are you going to do?
I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, come on.
Okay, he runs into a janitor's closet. Boom, there you go. And this is where you see him use his heat vision for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I called your mother, by the way.
Right. And she's acting angry instead of just being like compassionate towards the child is obviously scared or something. And like, why are all these other students in the hallway?
Listen, it's before we knew about like kids with like learning disabilities or maybe autism, things like we weren't as sensitive to that stuff, Tyler, as we are now. You know what I mean? You gotta remember this is like 20 years before when we jump ahead.
As soon as Diane Lane shows up on screen, she just owns it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, then swim towards it, honey.
I think that's the trick with casting the Kents. You got to find people that are old enough that you can make look a little older.
Yeah.
And old enough where you can make them look a little younger so that you can really do these scenes believable instead of being like, okay, they don't look like they could be a parent.
I have to take off this chain's very heavy. I can't wear it for very long. it's not the Rock.
Go ahead. Take your time.
He's like, it's actually the chain, not the kryptonite.
Oh, by the way, Romello Di Lamone says, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Showing Clark as a child who can't control his powers was really smart here.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
It's giving us the highlights that we need of just of letting us kind of build our own background of what he went through.
And when are they showing it, Ryan? At the 25-minute mark, which is where we're at right now. If you'd like to queue up your copy of Man of Steel, as we're seeing Clark swimming with the fishes. I'm sorry, they're mammals. They're whales.
They're whales.
Yeah.
By the way, I like that.
We're coming up with the shot from the trailer.
Isn't that Pearl Jam or something?
Is it Pearl Jam that they're playing right now?
This is the thing in the trailer.
No, it's Chris Cornell, isn't it?
Is it Chris Cornell that they're playing in this sequence?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
By the way, R.I.P. Chris Cornell.
Hunky Henry without a shirt on. Oh man, looking buff.
By the way, did you guys know during the marketing campaign that when he was on when she had she had her own talk show at one point. It was not Kelly Ripa. Oh gosh, what was her name? Not Kathy.
Oh, stealing clothes.
Not Kat. Hold on a second. I'm trying to. It
had to be Kelly Ripa then.
No. It was Katie Couric, right? Katie Couric had her own talk show. So she brings on Amy Adams and Henry Cavill and says, "Hey guys, new movie's coming out. It's called Man of Steel. Here's a clip." And it's shirtless Henry coming out of the water, grabbing at the laundry on the the line. And then the clip, as soon as the clip's over, she looks at She looks at Henry with these googly eyes. She says,
Where's the bridge? Okay, long shot. Where's the bridge? Rate of speed.
Oh yeah, you mean
camera
the
shot.
extended shot? Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no bridge. You're right. That's weird. Isn't that weird?
Okay. Judging by speed of time, like unless it's right past those trees. But then if you look in the back, okay, look, I'm just being like observing because I do that sometimes.
There is no.
They made a right turn into the woods somewhere.
Oh geez, dude, the bridge just shows up right behind those trees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's right behind the
I love
trees.
this shot.
So anyway, Katie Couric has these two actors on, and then she's like, "What was it like, when Amy and whatever else was going on?" And then she goes like, "What is it with your packaging?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
what are you doing?" Like, would you say, Katie Couric? Would you say the same thing to a woman that was on your show? Like, what's up with your packaging?
Yeah.
Show up with them in a bra or something from a movie. Like
I don't know.
Double standards are hilarious.
It's weird, right? It's weird.
Yeah,
it really is.
Weird.
So apparently we have another flashback sequence where Clark is young and everyone else is too, and he is about to rescue a bus full of kids, which includes Lana and Pete Ross, who I didn't know Pete Ross was a jerk in this iteration of the character.
Yeah. It's one of those things that kind of tells you that they start out as like enemies, and then they become best friends.
Yeah, well, it's like when sometimes you hear the story, you fight your bully and then they respect you afterwards, like Rocky V. He beats him up and he beats him up, gets his jacket back, and then they become like best friends and they're hanging out the rest of the movie. You know what I mean?
Wow, you went to Rocky V. Wow.
Yeah, Rocky V.
Yeah, that movie never happened. Actually, for me, this is just me. Rockies 4 and 5 never happened.
Rocky 4, the director's cut,
but you got to have Rocky 4 to get to Creed.
True, but at the same time, Rocky 4 and 5 are so bad.
No, Rocky 4, the director's cut, and then you watch Creed 2 right afterwards, makes for a phenomenal double feature.
Wait a minute, there's a director's cut of Rocky 4?
Yeah, you didn't know that? The Rocky versus Drago, the one that Stallone put together himself, the new director's cut.
Awesome. Is that on DVD or is that on Blu-ray?
Sort of. It's on the new 4K set. It finally in physical that they just put out, but you can get it on. You can buy it on like Vudu and stuff. Like it's on there.
I appreciate some of the camera work to this because it feels more real and lived in.
Haven't seen the director's cut. Sorry.
Just more tangible. Like even that shot of like the outside, it just feels like they're filming it. Like they probably did film it in places, but some films later, like that shot of just the swing up close in the coffee pot. There's just something about it that just
grabs the
feels.
Boom! Shuts the door.
Like it just feels like this place.
How perfect was Kevin Costner casting in this?
Dude, everyone in this cast is incredible.
It's like you took his character from Field of Dreams and just like dropped him into this movie. It's
Ooh, yeah, I didn't think about it like that.
You just brought up Ray Kinsella.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. It's the cornfields, it's the farmer. Like he's basically just doing Field of Dreams here, but it's perfect because that's what you think of.
This line is
it's great.
The line of controversy, but but look how he says, like, look at his body language.
No, his body language, Kevin Costner he doesn't know. He doesn't know what to say. Because he's never been faced. This is a kid he adopted who has these powers that nobody's ever had, and he doesn't know
what to do.
Who else has a kid that can
he's just going with this. He's making it up as he goes.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. Like it's not like his kid.
I don't think he was saying you should have let the kids die. He was just saying that this is very complicated. Like if you keep doing this, someone's going to catch on and they're going to put you away and keep you as a lab rat.
Here's the thing: he's protecting him because he knows that if the government found out there was a person that was really an alien, what they really call it out as in this movie, he would be put in some facility. He would be experimented on for the rest of his life. And he doesn't want he wants the kid to be able to be a kid and to grow up and have a semi-normal childhood. You know what I mean?
How was he able to get the ship out of the cornfield and put it down below in the cellar?
Tractors,
How was he able to do
He's got farm equipment, tractors.
He bought it and just like used a backhoe and just like
gotta haul that thing out of there.
Is that what he did? He used a backhoe?
Yeah, of course.
A backhoe, and then he
tractor.
The tractor.
He used his tractor with some chains and drug it.
Yeah, just drag that shit out of there.
Yeah, just like the guys in that other movie used the cat. The cat and the half part of a truck to carry themselves out of the desert in Tremors.
This is interesting right here.
My second favorite movie of all time.
His second favorite movie is Tremors.
You didn't know that?
Line.
I told you that. I told you.
You said it was one of your favorites, but you never said where it ranked.
Number two.
You guys just make you think here. Like he sent it to a metallurgist and it wasn't on the periodic table.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
how does that go? Like, what is the metal or just like,
I,
like that's a whole nother like just that's a whole episode of
You're-
Smallville right
you're
there.
the answer.
Right.
You're the
Yeah.
answer.
What
Are we
does the
alone in the
lab guy
universe?
say when he can't find it on the periodic table of elements? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like where did you get this? Give me more. This is a
Right.
discovery. I want to be famous. Like,
yeah,
The
I mean-
advice he gives here is so good.
yeah.
Like it makes so much sense.
God, dude, I almost cry every time he does the like, can I?
I
Just
tell
be
this to my kid, dude.
near your
Do you
son?
tell this to your
You
kid?
are my
I
son.
use the part where he says like, good or like, what kind of man do you want to be, Clark? Good or
Right.
bad? Like when you got to decide,
You are
like,
my son.
I use that on Solomon. Like I'll tell him like, you got to decide what kind of man you want to be. Like good or bad. Like you're gonna, it's gonna impact and change the world. Like who you are.
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
what
and
what a way to put
what
pressure on
happened-
your kids,
We
Tyler.
saw what happened when they go bad in Brightburn. Anybody see
Yeah.
Brightburn?
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen Brightburn. Is it any good?
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it.
It's interesting because it like part of the underlining thing is like about it's a blink and you miss it line about the hive mindset.
Oh,
It
really?
talks about how hives will implant their species and then activate them. That's kind of what it's about. And it was an interesting movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we
Not
know where?
that really fun.
Do we know where Brightburn is streaming?
Last time I checked, it wasn't. I'll check for you right now.
Yeah.
I'm curious where it is. What studio released it? Was it Lionsgate?
Something like that. It didn't do very well. I would have liked to have seen a sequel to it, but it didn't
Yep.
do very
I would have
well
liked to-
box office wise.
Did they? By the way, Austin, do they tee it up for a sequel at the end?
Kind of,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It was on Tubi, but it's saying it's not
Not
anymore.
to be like part of a bigger cinematic universe with some other character. It's just it's in its own thing, but they definitely tee it up for a
I
sequel.
love this.
Yeah, pal. I'm gonna have to ask you to. What are you gonna do
Yeah.
about it? Well, I'm just gonna have to ask you to leave.
When it just bounces off of him, that's great.
But dude, I kind of wish. I know he can't, but there's a
Yeah.
part of me that wishes he would have grabbed him and thrown him out because he was harassing that girl. Like that was so not cool.
Yeah.
What was the girl's? I think the girl's name was Christy. Christy. Yeah.
She's like she recorded a song. It's on the Justice League soundtrack.
She. Oh,
She's-
did she?
Yeah, she's an artist that Snyder likes.
The girl that.
No, not the waitress, the one playing guitar. That's what I
Oh,
meant
the
to
one
say.
playing the guitar. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
did Christy make a song?
Like, why does he like just quit the job? Like, I just would have grabbed him and
I just would have like grabbed him by the collar and threw him out, man.
Yeah. He doesn't have
forget
to
your
hurt him.
tip.
He could
forget your
pick him
tip.
up with like one hand if he wanted.
He really
to, you know
could.
what I
He
mean?
could have
Yeah.
hauled him out and saved Christy all
Right.
the trouble.
Yeah.
By
It's
the way,
okay.
a good gentleman who seems to love commenting here in the chat, Romello, goes on to say, when Kal-El arrives to Earth, then you cut to adult Clark was very smart, but I do think the scene with Jonathan and young Clark showing him the spaceship, I think while Jonathan is telling Clark his origins, we should have had seen a scene with the Kents finding baby Kal-El as a flashback while Jonathan is talking to Clark.
They might have
a
filmed
flashback within a flashback. Your flashback
multiple
Have
flashbacks.
someone else's flashback.
Yeah, right. They might have filmed something with Kevin Costner and them finding a baby. They might have, but maybe just for time they cut it.
Deleted
you know what I mean?
scenes,
'Cause-
maybe?
Yeah, most likely. I wouldn't
Probably
be
on
surprised if-
YouTube also.
I wouldn't be surprised if they filmed something like that. But maybe just
Uh,
for time. I mean, the movie's already 2.5 hours, so like
Yeah,
they might have just said they imply enough, in the dialogue.
but I will say
Okay, right
this-
there.
Yeah.
He was on Smallville.
Who did he play?
He was he was like a soldier that was killed and brought back to life. And I think in season 2, maybe 3. It's in the early years when Clark's still in high school.
Wow.
So there's another.
Be careful with those.
I
They're
can't
heavy.
pronounce his name though. He's like in a lot of sci-fi stuff. And like I just cannot pronounce his name. Like it's a tricky name.
What can I say? I get writer's block if I'm not wearing a flak jacket.
No.
Man, her entrance it's like Lois is not taking any BS from anybody. She's like, no, I'm a reporter. I'm the best there is.
I love Christopher Maloney in this movie. He's
Oh,
awesome.
I'm saving my Christopher Maloney comments when now.
Dude, Christopher Maloney, Elliot Stabler from SVU in a Superman movie. I thought, oh my gosh, this is what he did after he left SVU? Dude, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this: like this movie has been said, like it was never meant to set up a cinematic universe because if you were gonna make a cinematic universe while making this film, he should have been either Hank Henshaw or John Corbin and done your own kind of version of those characters out of like him. You know what I'm saying? Like he would be a perfect character to set up as this good friend of Superman's that he makes. Then tragedy happens, and then something happens to him down the line. Because he's such a good character that has a nice little arc. And then there's, of course,
There's the other Amelia
Smallville.
Hamilton
Yes,
from Smallville. That yes, Tyler, I did catch this one when I watched it in theaters.
By the way, do you recognize Emil? He's our Jurassic Park connection here.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's Eddie Carr.
Richard Schiff from Lost World. He's Eddie.
That's right. Oh, but I forgot, Austin. There were no sequels to Jurassic Park.
One of the no, I like Lost World a lot.
Are you serious? You like Lost World?
I think Lost World is a really underrated movie. Yeah.
Oh
I agree with you. I think there's things I really like in that.
You guys,
that sequence when Eddie saves them from the edge of the cliff is a brilliant action sequence. That sequence is fantastic. Yes. Eddie is the unsung hero of that movie. He's a hero, and he gets the shaft in that movie, and it sucks.
At least Ian Malcolm calls him out and says, "Can you show a little respect for the man?
Yeah,
he
the man
just saved our lives.
Sacrificed his life. Yeah, saved our lives. Yeah, like he's the man. That whole sequence is fantastic. Some of the best action scenes done. I'm telling you.
While this scene's quiet, where do you rank Amy Adams on your Lois Lane meter?
Lois Lane, like overall, or just cinematically?
Yeah. Overall, like, because to me, she's okay.
She's okay. She has her moments where I really, really like her, and some of the smaller moments. I don't like her. I think she's trying too hard to be sassy when she shows up, like trying too hard to be like, I'm tough, bitch. Like,
and I feel like
whatever. And
this is her best Lois, and then it diminishes.
I'm a big fan of animated series 90s Lois. Like I like the one.
Oh, Dana Delaney, yeah,
Dana Delaney, yeah. Like I think she did a good job.
She plays Lois Lane in the Phantasm in two different things.
Well, she's good in the voice work of having that tough edge, but she also needs to be saved. You know, he gets herself into trouble. You know, like she's still vulnerable, but she's tough when like she can.
There we go.
But yeah,
there we go.
Oh, him discovering the ship, yeah.
Romello's giving us our Man of Steel.
Yes. I'm sorry. Romello D. Malone says Timo Pennicott, who's in Man of Steel, played Vince Davis in Smallville, episode 15 from season 3, and Wes Keenan in season 6, episode 21. Wow, that is so specific, Romello, and we thank you for being specific.
It's the Man of Steel Smallville universe.
It really is, honestly, because Amy Adams was like in the 6th, 8th episode of Smallville.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. By the way, it's unfortunate that they couldn't get Amy Adams to be on that episode of Talkville when they were talking about the episode. Talkville, that's a podcast where Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum go back and watch every single episode of their work on Smallville, and then sometimes they'll have occasional guest stars on the podcast, which includes Kristen Crook, John Glover, Alfred Goff, Miles Miller, and many, many others.
There's more and more of those popping up with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I like this. The thing about it, he just got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And for all we know, that could be the first time he's ever been hurt and felt pain.
Yeah, true. He's getting hit with Krypton tech. Yeah.
You know, because
key has been accepted.
You know, there's no kryptonite or anything, you know? So like that idea that maybe he's exposed to something that's weakened him, that could have been one of his earliest times ever feeling real pain and attack.
Yeah, could be.
Great product placement with Nikon.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't mind product placement when it feels organic to real life. Like you know what I'm saying? Like someone
She's
grabs
using her camera, so it makes sense.
Yeah, someone grabs a Coke out of the fridge. Okay. Not if someone's like, "Hey, look at that Coca-Cola. I need that Coca-Cola."
Yeah.
You know, they just
you mean Transformers: Age of Extinction? Let me grab this Bud Light, chug it right in mid-camera, Mark, and hold it up for everybody to see. You know, out of nowhere in the middle of an action scene. You know what I mean? I'm thirsty. Maybe this Bud Light will cool me off.
I will say I am looking forward whenever I get a chance. I can't say that I'm going to see it now, but when I do have a chance, I do look forward to seeing Transformers: Rise of the Beast because it's a Beast Wars movie.
It was good. It
was good. Did you like it?
That's all I'm going to say. Because I don't want to let you do your own
no
thing.
Spoilers, but
now this is supposed to be a big deal.
This was supposed to be a giant Easter egg that Supergirl is in this universe.
And did you guys ever read the prequel comic that was supposed to be about her?
No, isn't it good?
It was interesting because like it's Supergirl in a way, but like a descendant from thousands of years because like the ship is so old, you know, and stuff. But it was very interesting. I think I shared on social media years ago because I had to track it down to find. But it never really panned out to anything. This is awesome.
Yeah.
He just crumples this thing up.
Yeah.
Like a tin can.
Yeah. And what minute is he doing that, Ryan? At the 41-minute mark, which is what we're doing here. We're watching Man of Steel live. In case you didn't figure it out, we're doing a little watch along, and we just passed the 41-minute mark where he's gonna burn up and seal up Lois's internal bleeding here with his heat vision.
If I don't cauterize his bleed.
Yeah.
By the way, a bearded Superman, I would have been okay with that if he had kept the beard.
I'm fine with it.
But he had to look younger, while Michael Shannon had to look older. So they switched their facial hairs.
Yeah.
But honestly, if he had kept his beard like this as Superman, I would have been totally cool with it.
I like to pretend that he used a combination of microvision and heat vision to make sure he got all the layers of tissue that was damaged,
Because
and
to cauterize the wound. Yeah.
And precise,
Hey, look, Emil Hamilton's asleep, but now he's awake.
Yeah.
Does this character even get a name in this movie? I don't think he even gets a name.
I don't even know I can't even remember if we see him again after this sequence. I don't know.
No, this is his last scene, but I don't even know his character name. Does anybody know that? I don't remember.
I don't know. I feel like I did at
You
one
should
point.
know, but you don't.
Yeah, I'm not that good.
No.
No, the ship's about to take off. Man.
I'm sure he technically has a name in the credits, but it might as well be like Soldier Assistant number 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Scientist number 1.
Yeah. Who knows?
Scientist, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if anyone has thoughts about this movie known as Man of Steel, which we are celebrating its 10-year anniversary, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If this is your first time here, welcome. And don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Narration here.
It's a great way of like segueing this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then we get the introduction of the great Lawrence Fishburne.
By the way, to answer your question, Tyler, from a moment ago that you posed to us, as far as Lois Lanes go, I would put Amy Adams kind of in the bottom tier because, like, I like her, and she's a very capable actress. She's been in the game a very long time. She's given some great performances in other films that are not this one, and she is a celebrated actress that should be. But I would put her towards the bottom of the list, but...
she's better than Kate Bosworth.
For this movie, she serves her purpose, but outside of that...
Kate Bosworth is the most miscast Lois Lane in the history of Lois Lane.
She's the bottom for me. Like, she is the bottom.
But I will say this, though. And I'm not defending her iteration of the character, but I will say, because the casting for that was all wrong. But Kate Bosworth, I've liked you for 20-plus years, because the first time I met you professionally was in an underrated movie called Blue Crush. And you were the lead actress in that. And it's not because of what you think. I didn't watch it just for
the movie theater when that came out, so on opening day.
You were in the movie theater for that?
There we go.
Oh, I worked in a theater when Blue Crush came out, so on opening day. Yeah.
Dude, bless your heart. You got a better seat than I did because I had to wait for it on DVD to see the flipping movie. So anyway.
Yeah, he was in Smallville.
Thank you. So, Kate, I like you. I like you a lot. But the situation with you and Superman Returns didn't work. It just didn't work. You know what I mean? It just didn't work. But by the way, they never did this, and I wish they did, even though you didn't have to make this, but I wish they would have. Austin, between you and me, I think they should have made a Blue Crush 2 with Kate.
No. Did they?
Well, I would have liked to have seen a sequel.
Tyler, did they show the shot of the polar bears to essentially call back to Kevin Smith's little story about
John Peters?
John Peters won Randy to razzle some polar bears.
That was my thought. Was just like you got your polar bears, Peters.
By the way, Romello Malone has something to say to us. He says, my Lois Lanes are as follows. Margot Kidder, Terry Hatcher, yes. Dana Delaney, oh yeah. Erica Durance, 100%. Amy Adams, Rebecca Romaine was Lois? Oh, and
animated films.
The animated films. Yeah, that wasn't too shabby. And Elizabeth Tulick from Superman and Lois. Okay.
See, I don't like Margot Kidder as Lois. Just because I don't like.
That's a hot take, man.
I know, because I don't like the dynamic she does with Clark and Superman, because she really hates on Clark, and it makes the whole their whole story kind of awkward. Because she loves Superman, but not Clark, and then it's just the whole thing's just different. Now, back to the movie we're watching.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm your father, Cal.
This is an interesting scene.
Russell Crowe is back in projection form, yeah.
And he's telling the story of what happened to Krypton.
Right. Which, in a very fascinating, awesome way.
Love this holographic metallic. I love this the style of this.
Era of expansion.
Yeah, because it plays into the technology, but it just looks cool as shit.
This scout
It's so
ship was
nice.
one of thousands launched into the
Yeah.
void. His voice is so good.
He's one of those guys that I think he should be put up there as a great narrator.
Oh,
Along with like
period.
Morgan Freeman and all the other guys that get put up there. He has a great narration voice.
Stacy Keach. No,
I
I'm
like
just
how just it sets up what's going to happen later, and we don't even realize it. But then when it does happen, we're like, oh yeah, that made sense earlier. And they were talking about the expansion and the world engine and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's just telling us the story of Krypton about the population and everything, and like it helps us fill in the gaps for what we experienced earlier. We did later.
By the way, Romello D. Malone says, my idea of a Lois Lane on screen, Courtney Cox.
I think Courtney Cox would have done really well at the Scream 2 era, which was right around the Superman Lives. Like she was one of the people that was up for, the Superman Lives.
Yeah, that would have
I
been
think
okay.
would have worked well.
Yeah.
She was a great love interest in Ace Ventura when I met her. I'm just saying, man.
I liked it better when she was.
I've known Courtney Cox for a long time.
What about when she was helping He-Man, dude? Eating some ribs,
Dude,
my
I've never
favorite
seen
Courtney
that
Cox-
movie.
Listen, Courtney Cox with Liv Tyler and the Dancing in the Dark, and the Bruce Springsteen video is the best version, of course. Courtney Cox, come on.
If Donner had done the rest of the films and done more, I could see it being better. Yeah, I can
Romello. Oh yeah, sorry. Romello D. Limon goes on to say, I think if Richard Donner directed more Superman sequels, I think we would have seen Lois fall in love with Clark within that series. Yeah. Well, she kind of falls in love with him in the second one.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. We got to do one of these for Superman too.
Dude, we have to do, basically what Tyler is saying is not only are we celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel, but in the future, we should do a watch along for every single Superman movie that's ever been out, including Superman's 3 and 4.
We don't have. I like 4 better than 3, and we could
talk
that for a while.
Dude, I like Superman 4 a heck of a lot more than I like Superman 3.
4 is better than 3 in the same way that Jaws: The Revenge is better than Jaws 3D because it's so bonkers bad that it's more fun to watch than boring bad. That's
dude. I couldn't make it through Jaws Revenge. I watched 15 minutes of it and I turned it off because it was so bad.
It's not boring like Jaws 3D. That's
my
why
theory
I actually
is
like Jaws 3D.
My theory is he put his command key in, and the ship basically fabricated a suit.
It's a 3D printer. He 3D printed the suit.
He 3D printed the suit.
That's my rationale. Like it had the suit, but then it added his family crest because it recognized him by inputting his key
and scanned it into his body type and his biceps. You know what I mean? Like
perfect. Yeah, it's second skin.
Natural tailor. Yeah.
Dude, we're getting real serious here with this narration. I love it.
I like
House of L means hope.
I like the Russell Crowe symbol being slightly different, being like the dark black on top of the blue suit.
Yeah.
The potential of every person to be a force for good. That's what you can give them, Cal. Oh, and then the big reveal when the doors open. Oh my gosh.
And the cape.
Oh, look at that cape. That CGI cape.
Yep, it's CGI. Who cares, dude? It's
I
so
don't care.
good.
It looks majestic flapping.
I didn't even recognize. It was one of those things like I didn't even think about it being CGI for a lot of the shots that it is.
No, I just think it looks amazing. Yeah, it looks great.
Dude, this whole 10-minute sequence of him just going on about what happened to Krypton and what you can do in the future is incredible.
Yeah.
You drank in your radiation.
Hey, what's the time that we're at for?
Oh well, when Superman's about to take his first flight, as the score calls it, at 43:37, or excuse me, not that 49:40. Excuse me, 49:40 of Man of Steel as Henry's about to power up here and launch himself into the stratosphere.
What I love is like after this scene, there's like one small scene of him without, like, there's like a small part without the suit. Then he's in the suit for the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
it's like so many of the superhero
the only time
movies,
he's not in the suit after is when Zod puts his signal out there and he's at home with Martha. Yeah,
and then with the preacher, and that's it.
Yeah, that's really it. And then he suits back up. Yeah.
I like that he's clean shaven now. Like I said, like he walked out, not only did he have the suit on, now he's clean shaven too.
Yeah.
I heard, in one iteration of Superman in the hit television series Lois and Clark, one of the best TV series of all time, Dean Cain laser eyes in the mirror and shaves. That's how he shaves the beard.
Do you remember the How Does He Shave campaign when this came out? Because Gillette was sponsoring it.
Oh, yeah.
It had like Kevin Smith and Mylan Ballack and some other people like talking like, how does he shave? Like,
yeah, he does.
How does he shave?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the.
Well, I like to think that there's something on board on the ship that can shave him
I agree,
Like
Romello.
he steps into a chamber and there's some
In time,
Kryptonian tech that can
you
save him.
will help them accomplish wonders.
Yeah.
I have a poster of this quote on my wall, by the way.
That's awesome.
This whole quote is on my wall, Tyler.
You can't see it, but like I have Man of Steel curtains right here. Like I'm looking at next to me. Do you guys remember that first trailer, the teaser trailer for this when watching The Dark Knight Rises?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How
I freaking
amped,
loved it.
how
Dude,
amped were you when like it showed basically nothing, but it was just voiceover and then him
I
and
loved
like
it.
going supersonic straight up? Yeah,
I loved it. It's great marketing. That's why
So
one of
I
the
was
things I'm
like-
going to say, and I'll say this again towards the end, but when a marketing campaign makes a movie look great, and then that movie lives up to that hype and then some, that makes it all the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. Where like he's practicing and just
He's just going, man. In the score,
We've
Hans
never
Zimmer,
seen-
thank you, because Hans
we've never
Zimmer, you're
seen-
awesome.
It goes to again what Snyder did. We've never seen flying sequences like this, like ever. It's incredible, like the way he shoots.
You
all
couldn't
this.
do this in '78.
No, I didn't quite believe a man could fly in '78. I kind of believe it in this movie.
I love this shot right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at this.
Before he takes off again. Boom.
I have had my ringtone on my phone for my morning alarm since this movie came out as what are you going to do when you're not saving the world? Like that is my morning alarm.
That is your ringtone?
for when I wake, because it starts off soft with that
Right.
piano and then it builds. So it's a perfect song to kind of wake up
to and see the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are you going to do when you're not saving the world? Well, I've thought
Sleep.
about that, actually. I got to find a job where I can keep my ear to the ground. You know. Oh, by the way, Romello D. Malone says, like the idea of Henry's Superman jump first, like in the old comics and the Fleischer cartoons.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then also Romello goes on to say, I wished Henry Cavill had the same Superman outfit for Man of Steel in BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I agree. There's no reason for him to change costumes. Like there is from BVS to Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it got destroyed and all that.
Yeah.
But there's not really like that definitive like from Man of Steel to BVS why all of a sudden he has a different costume. Like, but
From the
we all know why. It's to sell more action figures and stuff.
Yeah.
Which Tyler bought all 30 of them.
I have a lot of action figures.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed Tyler's set.
Tyler, can Brainiac have like a dog? We gotta sell some toys for this movie, Can he have like
Exactly.
a dog with a gay black man's voice? That's one of the greatest stories ever. Is the Kevin Smith John.
And this is one of the few times where Henry's wearing a different outfit.
Yeah.
He's wearing a pair of, what are those, jeans? And then a shirt, broken down button down, and a hat.
Yeah.
He's trying to hide.
By the way, Tyler, what if I don't want my story told?
Yeah.
I do like, just for doing something different, I like them meeting like this because it gives her the opportunity to get to know the real him from the beginning.
And it's in private. It's not an interview.
Yeah, and it's like it builds a different mythos of how Lois and Clark work together. And like
I believed.
One of my things at the end of the movie is I always just kind of realize like with Lois on his side, that's how he was able to get the job at the Daily Planet and kind of like things like that. Like, okay, I want to say this scene real quick. I really feel like this should have been a Dylan Sprayberry scene and not a Henry Cavill scene.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to make him look younger.
He's like 15 in this.
And the more that I've thought about this, I feel like having the flashbacks be more like Sprayberry's thing, because that would juxtapose this scene a lot more with the last scene where he says, "You are my son," and then you cut to this where he's like, "You're not even my real dad," and it's the same actor.
Yeah,
hits a lot tighter.
Well,
good point.
And
That's
him
a good point.
not acting would make more sense if he's younger, doing what his dad tells him to do, huh? As opposed to, you see Henry, you're like, yeah, Henry could have probably just zapped in there and grabbed him. You know what I mean? Like, pretty quickly. Is he still doing? They just had this conversation about him kind of rebelling against his dad, not doing what he wants me to do. You know what I mean? And then like doing his own thing, and yet he's doing what his dad wants him to do in this next scene. Yeah, it's I don't hate the scene either, like overall, but I see people's quibbles about it. I get it.
By the way, one thing that stood out to me.
Also, real quick, Ryan, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just comparing it to one thing, I think the 78 movie does do better than this as far as the death of Pa Kent is in that one. It's a heart attack, so it's something Superman can't.
He couldn't prevent.
can't save him from dying of natural causes. You know, as opposed to an event where he probably could have saved Pocket from this tornado. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Like, but that's one of the things he can't stop. You know, natural causes of death. You know, the natural.
Yeah.
You know, like that's you know, it's one of the things I think the original movie does do slightly better.
Well, you know, and they brought that up again in Smallville, the great TV series known as Smallville. So,
Well,
by the way,
is,
I'm sorry, Tyler. Real quick,
say, like he goes
go
back
ahead.
for the dog.
Yeah.
I like this in like theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have been staged a little bit better because, you know, we spent 10 years watching Clark run super fast on Smallville to know that Superman can move fast. So like, if they had both been like saving people and Clark just turns around to see his dad and then turns like, and just cut it tighter to where like his dad, like he turns and his dad's caught or trips and then they do it almost like it slows down for him. I feel like it just goes on too long to where you're like, why didn't he do anything? And like, yes, he looks back and he decides I'm going to do something. And Jonathan says, you know, stop. And that kind of goes back to him giving the lecture of it's not time yet for you to reveal yourself, even if that means me dying. Like,
it's not time.
Yeah.
I get it, but I just feel like it could have been staged a little bit better. Because, I mean, in all honesty, he could have saved him.
Right.
That's something, you know, he lives with is like you said, the difference in this compared to the heart attack is the heart attack you can't save him from. Right. But saving him from a tornado, he could have done that.
Yeah.
By the way, Romello D. Malone points out Lois meeting Clark already knowing that he has powers before he becomes Superman is a really smart idea, according to Romello.
Well, she already has the suspicion. Yeah, she knows there's somebody like
Perry's gunning for you.
Well, and it comes back around with the other dude later where the guy on TV is like, yeah, Lois Lane knows who this guy is. Like, yeah. I don't know who this guy is, but she knows who this guy is.
I told you not to run with this. And what did you do? You let Woodward just shotgun it all over the internet.
I feel like we glossed over the fact that Lawrence Fishburne is awesome in this movie. And he's great.
And now the publishers want me to sue you.
I feel like Perry's a tough character to crack because he was such he was such a J. Jonah-esque character before J. Jonah was a thing. But so many people become so familiar with J. Jonah that trying to get a Perry White character kind of like Lane Smith did it because he was a little bit different. He had the whole Elvis thing going, you know. And I don't think Lawrence Fishburne's bad. I like him and Lois more than I like what him and Clark do. Because it feels like he's always mean to Clark. But with Lois, and that's like going forward, but I'm trying to focus on this film. I like their dynamic.
At the same time in BVS, again, not jumping ahead of too much of this movie, but Clark is also not doing what he tells him to do, and he's a new hire, so he's getting frustrated with him. No, I'm your boss. I told you to cover this, not this, and he's not doing that. You know, I would be frustrated as a boss too if you had a new hire who was doing the exact opposite of what your boss told you to do.
Well, like when he called him like a nerd and like stuff, like it's funny.
Yeah.
Here's our first Lex Luthor tease.
Yeah. Get a couple of them because you get the LexCorp later on the truck. Yeah,
there's
LexCorp on the gas truck. Yeah, during the fight later.
And I like that. I like the subtle hints. Like
and the Wayne Enterprises on the satellite later. You know, when they go to space. You know, during the battle. Yeah, they drop the hints, but it's not too much. It's there if you want to see it.
Yeah.
By the way, the LexCorp. Well, we'll get into this later, but never mind. I'll save it for later when the scene comes up because I don't want to give it away. But I will say the relationships between Mom, Pa Kent to Kal-El, it's so good. And Diane Lane is just, I love her so much in this movie. She's so good.
And she's so good at the exactly 1 hour mark, Ryan Ferguson of Man of Steel that we're getting to right now. So just keeping up with those timestamps as you asked me to. I'm just doing my job here, folks.
Thank you. Yes, we are celebrating what is known as the 10-year anniversary of the most underrated comic book movie of all time, known as Man of Steel. If you want to queue up your copy on a physical media or a streaming service, please do share any and all your thoughts in the comment section or the live chat. Whether you are joining us live or on the replay, thank you so much for being with us. And we are joined by Tyler of Krypton Report and Austin.
Yo. I just like the lighting. Like I love when this film films outdoors and natural lighting.
Yeah.
Like the look of the Battle of Smallville, like I love just because it is so much natural lighting. And like I like this little right here where she talks about when you were a baby and you had trouble breathing. It makes it a little bit easier when we get to the Zod scene.
Yeah.
Just worried they're going to take you away from
Well, the atmosphere stuff they talk about with messing with you and messing with your head, messing with your
yeah,
body. Yeah, all your system, you have to adjust to it. Yeah, and the contrast to that when he jumps back onto, when he's on Zod's ship and he goes through the same thing in reverse, with the Krypton atmosphere.
I have a good question that a friend of mine pointed out in his discussion about this. And I'll point out later. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. I don't think he's Martian Manhunter here. I think he's General Swanwick. I have my own headcanon on stuff. My headcanon.
I don't. That's one thing I don't like the him as Martian Manhunter because it just doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of thrown in there out of nowhere.
My headcanon is a mixture of different things, but my thought would be you do a short scene that takes place after BVS where there's a program looking for aliens, kind of like in the comics. They bring Martian Manhunter in, something goes wrong, he's dying, and Martian Manhunter reads his mind, then takes his form.
Yeah.
As respect. That's like my headcanon, because if without it, I hate the idea of him as Martian Manhunter. Like right here, does not work at all.
No. Well, and it doesn't make sense. Then what the hell were you doing this whole time when Zod is, destroying
he was. I
everything?
mean, he's good at playing a commanding officer because he plays the commanding officer of the FBI unit in the Blacklist.
Yeah, no, he's great on the Blacklist. I like him on the Blacklist.
Yeah, I forgot he was in the Matrix.
See, there was a TV show that had a good run in its early seasons, and then it went off the rails.
He's homeboy who does the last stand in the Matrix Revolutions with the mech suit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
See, right there, he's drinking a Budweiser, but it's not shoved in our face that he's drinking a Budweiser.
No, he's covering the label anyway.
It's just right there at the tip,
Yeah,
the top label, like it was easy.
Clark, come out and look at this. Yeah, Mom.
Bring that Bud. Grab me a Bud, Clark.
Breaking
Bring a whole
news.
Six-pack of Budweiser. I like this right here.
Oh yeah.
Boom, because it shows him using his vision.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh,
what is that? I don't know what that is.
Now, how do you feel about the idea that it's because of Clark, Superman, that Zod and them come there and attack Earth, basically? Like it's his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, I mean, it was Superman's fault in Superman 2 when the Phantom Zone shattered.
I mean, yeah.
In Superman 2.
But it oddly enough was following him because of his, so I mean, I guess you can go with it kind of the same logic. Like, it's still his fault. This is so cool. And
by the way, this whole "You're Not Alone" was used as a trailer. It was a 1:45 trailer about Zod saying, "You are not."
Yeah,
alone.
but this feels like a mini horror movie thrown into this. Like it's pretty cool. I did
creepy.
Of it.
It's very creepy. And then by the way, Michael Shannon practiced like 12 different languages for this sequence.
Oh yeah, because that's him. It's definitely his voice when he does the other languages. 100%.
You are not alone. Yeah. Wasn't Carol Ferris a character from the Green Lantern universe?
Yeah,
that was thrown into the movie just because they wanted to throw in references to DC.
I think they give her name later, but it's not Carol. Like it was supposed to. I think originally there were talks about she was going to be Carol's sister or something because her name's Ferris.
Yeah, it's Ferris' sister.
Something like that. Like it's one of those things you're just like, maybe,
it's a
maybe
DC
not.
reference.
Yeah.
Hey, it's on the RSS feed. It's
on my Nokia phone.
It's on my phone. You are not alone.
My name is General Zod.
He's wearing his mask too. It's so creepy.
Yeah, I love the mask. The mask is
so creepy, man.
Yeah,
which is interesting because you would think he would show his face to kind of give us a sense of, like he's
an alien, but he's like a humanoid.
Yeah, like it disarms us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But coming with that mask, you're like,
what? It's more of an intimidation thing of just like, do what I tell you to do.
Exactly.
Continuous shot. Like
your planet has sheltered one of my citizens. Mm-hmm. He will walk like you. He will talk like you, but he is not like you. To Kal-El, I say this: surrender within 24 hours, or watch this planet suffer the consequences. That is so creepy and ominous, man. It's so creepy.
But I believe it.
Oh no, he's serious. Like I believe, like if we don't do something, like something really big is going to go down, and we're not going to like it.
Well, and I think it's taken seriously as far as like a threat because if this dude has the tech to take over every technological feed, TV,
good
radio,
question
internet,
from the
whatever.
audience.
Yeah.
Romello says, "Do you think this iteration of Zod should have said no before Zod?"
I think it's a little
No.
hokey. No, it's a little hokey.
It's become too
Yeah.
much attached to the stair. Like it's about a
Yeah.
ruler, and Zod's not about
Terrence
ruling
Stamp, yeah.
as much as about bringing Krypton back.
Yeah.
And no one else ever kneels. Like there's no like if you had scenes of like his people coming to him and like kneeling down and doing this kind of like honor to their
Yeah.
soul, like that would have been one thing.
Well, yeah, because they do that in season 9 in Smallville.
Yeah, exactly.
They do
But
it in season 9 in
he's
Smallville.
not there to rule the human race.
No, he just wants to bring Krypton back.
He's there to destroy the human race and bring up back the Kryptonian race.
I don't know about you guys,
Yeah.
but suffer for a little bit and gain awesome powers, or just be like regular. I'm leaning towards suffer a little bit and gain awesome powers. I mean, that's just me. You know,
There is no point in falling back on journalistic integrity, Lois. I got to go. The FBI is at my door.
Mhm.
And it's Elliot Stabler who arrests her. It's not
Yeah.
even the FBI, it's him. It's the Air Force.
I feel like well, that guy said FBI.
Yeah, but he's Air Force, see?
Yeah.
There it is. It's like, hey, it's me. It's Elliot Stabler, SVU. What are you doing here?
I like this scene.
Love the scene. The scene
With the preacher? Oh, yeah.
Yes, with the clergyman. Yeah, it's great.
Does anyone know who
'Cause,
this man is?
Well, I mean, there's the classic stuff of Superman as the Christ metaphor, anyways. So it's kind of
Well, they show. I mean, that's been in all the comics, and
It's
they've
in
hinted at it in
every-
Superman Returns.
Right here,
movie,
check.
everything.
Okay, isn't
Here's Dylan.
look Sullivan's Tractors? So isn't that like a Smallville reference?
Yep.
I love that he's reading Plato, and isn't that supposed to be like Fordman?
Whitney Fordman?
I think so. He's
Does
supposed to be-
that say it on his jacket, though?
I thought he was supposed to be somebody
Look
like
at his
that.
jacket.
I
Come on,
love.
Kent.
See right here. We're back to a Dylan Sprayberry scene, and look
Get
how
up,
strong he
Kent.
can carry things.
Yeah, he's got a good presence about him. Yeah.
Hey. His
So-
dad's over there.
So I'm just saying, like, how better it would have been.
Was that Whitney Foreman?
Mhm.
God,
I want to say it was somebody I read or saw something. I
it's
don't
got to
know.
look like Whit. I don't know. Pete says, "Hey,
And then-
don't worry about it. Let me help you up."
And that shows that they're.
Pete has turned another leaf. Because
Dude,
he
look at his
wearing
strength,
glasses.
man.
No.
He bent that bar in half.
And
You
see,
know
Pete
that-
knows.
You know that he's turned because he's wearing glasses now. You see, that means he's.
Oh yeah. Well, I should have. Okay, I should have put on my UV protection or my blue
Right.
light protection glasses. You guys, you don't even recognize it's me anymore, do you? Like,
No, I
Right.
don't.
We're joined by a stranger now on the.
You can call me James.
Yeah.
James,
Yeah, sure. James Olsen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what I meant. I meant you. You are right.
Right here. This is the speech I tell Solomon.
What do you say to him?
This right here, like
Yeah, what kind of man you want to become, Clark? Because whoever that man is, good character.
Good character or bad? It's going to change the
world.
world, Tyler. It's going to change
Yeah.
the world.
every one person can change the world through their actions. They can make it a better place or a worse place by how they
Mhm.
treat other people.
You know, the very least he could have done is just shoved Whitney.
He could have just been like,
Well, but that would have given everything away. He could have just shoved him. Where do you? I don't even know where to start. Wherever you want. You know that one on the news? I'm the one they're looking for.
Mhm. And the guy's like, yeah.
Do you know
See,
why they
and-
want you?
Yeah.
and that's cool because he knows he keeps a secret, and then he's at the funeral in BVS.
Oh,
Mhm.
I did
And
not
he
know.
knows because I had someone else pose to me a question like, "Do you think everyone at the funeral in BVS knew that Clark was Superman?" Because you look, it's Pete Ross.
I
it's
think
him,
everyone in Smallville knew who he was.
and that's another question. Do we think that because it makes you wonder how much? What did he do more in Smallville?
I
You
think
know, like-
everyone knew in Smallville who he was. They just didn't want to say anything because they kept it secret.
Well, I think they just anybody who knew him up to a certain age where he looks like now sees him on the news and is obviously like, yeah, that's the.
Oh, by the way, Romello Di Malone says this iteration of Zod is just trying to turn Earth into Krypton. That's a good point that we brought up earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not trying to be.
This is one of my favorite
Earth.
shots. I just because it feels so real because they had him
Yeah.
on a crane outside, like when they filmed it.
Oh,
just
yeah.
where it just like right here,
And he's floating
Oh,
with
yeah.
a CGI cape that looks real.
Mhm.
like it just like this is one of my favorite shots in this entire movie.
By the way, this is a good way to market a movie. Well, you've got our attention.
Mhm.
What is it you want? I would like to speak to Lois Lane. What makes you think she's here? Don't play games with me, General. I'll
'Cause
surrender.
I could see her in the back of the car.
See, it looks good like in natural lighting. The suit,
Yeah,
does.
just with the backlight there. Yeah,
Right there.
Really
that looks
guarantee
cool.
Lois.
That right there,
Yeah.
that just looks good.
Do you guys remember this?
This was on the marketing campaign, by the way. Him in handcuffs.
Campaign. That's what I mean. Do you remember all the dummies online that were like, how could Superman be in handcuffs? Regular handcuffs? Well, yeah, it's probably part of the plot. Just fucking relax and wait.
You let them handcuff you?
The context of the scene, he lets them handcuff him. Yes, we're aware that handcuffs can't hold Superman, guys.
It wouldn't be much of a surrender if I resisted.
How about we just watch the movie and it probably makes sense in context, which it does. So yeah, I remember seeing like Reddit threads about that shit. And
it's not an S.
What are you talking about?
In my world, it means hope.
Well, see, I hate this. Like, well, here it's an S.
Here it's
not in every language would it be an S.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
How about? And then she comes up with the name as the microphone turns on. Sir.
Hamilton.
Hello, my name Emil Hamilton. I know.
Yeah.
I can see your ID tag in your breast pocket, along with a half-eaten roll of wintergreen lifesavers.
I like how he's just like
showing his cards. He's like, yeah, I know what you're doing. Been here 33 years, Colonel. Haven't infected anyone yet.
He's like, not that you know.
And he's giving away his age. He was like, hey, I'll tell you how old I am.
I'll tell you. And I grew up in Kansas. Like, okay, let's start doing some math.
Yeah,
let's
right.
work backwards.
Yeah,
you know?
we can
like,
figure out who.
Let's put our cards on the table, Tyler.
Context clues, yeah.
Dude, he just broke him like it was completely nothing. But you never will. But that doesn't mean I'm your enemy.
Mm.
And who is Zod? That's what I'm afraid of. Do what you have to do, General.
Yeah.
Man, he's being so respectful of the higher authorities here.
No, see,
but
like,
I like
that's
the
a real
fact that this
right
is.
there.
See, and this is. I just like that they're out at like it looks like they're at like the salt flats or something. And
yeah, like to the middle of nowhere.
But,
yeah.
But you know, but I like that because I'm sorry, and I'm going to take a shot at the MCU here. This would be a total green screen shot in your average MCU movie, just some green screen, background.
Yeah.
And Snyder actually gave a shit about filming it here. He gave a shit about filming
the MCU doesn't care about natural lighting or natural settings.
I have a beef with current MCU. I think it's gotten really lazy and really terrible.
It's all shot on those new stages. Like this is like location.
I love location filming. Like,
being on a location is better anyway because it makes it feel natural.
That's one thing about this film with the camera work, with the location shots, like the camera work, and like this right here, like it feels
shot,
real helicopters, real tanks, like all.
You got real guns being pointed at him, like this.
Yeah, this is
something like this were to happen. This is how people would react.
This is a shot right here. I think, in here, like there's shots of real cape as long with the CGI cape.
Yeah.
Like, there's shots of both.
There's the round shot and then there's the real shot.
Yeah.
And then here's the shot of the ship coming in. Look at this.
And like a lot of these, they used helicopters and then remove the helicopter. That way they could actually get the dust effect.
Yeah.
And look at all these wide shots. Oh, the cape. Look at that. It's a great shot.
Yeah.
Here come the masks.
Okay. I'll ask you this in a minute. Oh, wait. I'll hold my thought.
You have so many thoughts.
Dude, it's been 10 years of watching this movie. Of course I have thoughts.
Yeah. You've been able to think about every detail of this movie for 10 years.
He's probably read every book, too.
Yeah.
Like you said you saw this in 5 times in theaters. I saw it 3.
Oh, I got you beat on that one, man.
You did.
By the way, she gave him the googly eyes there for like a second. She looked him up and down, gave him like, you're not a bad looking dude. You know what I mean? Like,
she's been looking at the same old dude for
you're a good looking
years.
Kryptonian. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
are you the ranking officer here? I am.
Yeah.
This woman to accompany me.
Do you wonder why?
Why is that?
Yeah, why they chose Lois to come on board? Like,
why is that? Why don't you tell us, Tyler?
I'm just saying. I'm asking you. Like, is it just a point? Like a plot contrivance? Like, we'll take this one with us.
Well, maybe because they want her to document the resurgence of Krypton because she's already reported on him.
And then look, here soon we'll be right back at this exact spot, but it'll be the Flash and Supergirl fighting here.
I know.
See right there, that's a real cape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because it's all dusty.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, and yes, I am. At some point, I can't say I'm going to see it now, but at some point, I am looking forward to seeing Flashpoint, which the movie should have been subtitled The Flash: Flashpoint.
It's just the Flash. There's no point to it. Like there's
No,
no Flash. It's just Flash.
but but it's based off of Flashpoint.
Well,
Yeah.
yes and no. 'cause-
We-
It's literally
we're-
an adaptation of Flashpoint.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we're
not
doing,
really.
But we're not doing Reverse Flash. We're not doing Thomas Wayne. You know what I
Right.
mean?
We're not doing the
Martha
fan-
Wayne is the Joker.
Which again, I think Snyder set it up perfectly. He casted Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne, who's great, who's perfect for that.
We just did an
Perfect.
episode. It dropped
He's perfect.
yesterday
Oh
or
my
the day
God.
before.
What
We are
episode?
right now. We're in a process of doing Flash Week. We have an episode dropping every day
Yeah.
about different things in the Flash's history with special guests.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And our Flashpoint episode just dropped 2 days ago. You should
Mhm.
check it out just because we talk about the 3 different versions of Flashpoint
Yeah.
and how the movie looks to be pulling from them.
Okay, well, even though the
Yeah.
movie's a very loose adaptation of Flashpoint, I still like the graphic novel that it's
Right.
borrowing.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, I
Like,
think
I
Snyder
love
was looking
Flashpoint
ahead.
personally.
Snyder
Oh.
was looking ahead, and holy shit, like current day Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne is fucking
Dude, he would have
spot
killed
on.
that.
He was spot on as Thomas Wayne, dude. Like,
I mean, just go back and look at him as the comedian.
But dude,
Yeah,
the flashback between him and who was it, Lauren Cohan as Martha Wayne, like in BVS,
Yeah,
was so
Negan and-
freaking good.
Well, and it's Negan and what's her name? Both in Walking the Adversaries and Walking
And they're
Dead,
both
but,
in the
you know.
same TV series
I know,
now.
same TV show, yeah, on a spinoff. It's very strange, but yeah.
What is happening to him? It's the
Yeah.
ship's atmospherics. He's been spent years adapting to Earth, but he never adapted to ours.
I always thought this was. I always called this the Temple of Doom scene. When Indy drinks the black blood, and he's having his convulsions in the candle.
I find this just interesting because like how are they like sharing the same like he's inside his mind.
Yeah.
Like I just find
He's
this
wearing a
very interesting.
Kansas City Royals shirt.
So that's
Yeah.
how he sees himself though. That's what I kind of think is like, this is how Clark pictures himself.
But I love that. I love caped Zod here though. Like
In the
I mean,
black suit right here. I love it because I love we get our first look at the black suit, Man of Steel suit right here.
Oh
like-
yeah.
Oh, that's a
The
good
first-
point. The black suit. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, the salt and pepper goatee, just the bottom
Salt
part.
and
you know,
pepper,
is
man.
Nice. He's looking.
And he's
looking
coming
good.
right out of the Phantom Zone here in this flashback.
Yeah.
I like how when they go to the Phantom Zone, like they're on a ship, they're just chilling like in suspended animation.
Yeah. We repurposed.
By the way, good
the
narration
fucking
here by
drive.
Shannon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's good stuff. And again, this is where you get that like where they're coming from. And again, he's not really. He's a villain, but he's not yet in like full villain mode yet. You know, because he's
Yeah.
just. You know, he's.
The instrument of our damnation became our salvation.
Yeah, because he's not being. Not yet, you know, he's not being mean to Superman yet. You know, he's just
Colonial
he's welcoming him because he is part of it. You know, the Kryptonian heritage. So he's not like
Yeah.
trying to be confrontational.
Searching
He's
for
just trying
signs
to
of
tell.
life, but all we found was death.
Yeah. All they
Look how
found
many
was
ships.
at the 119 15-second mark of Man of Steel, which is what.
Yes. Thank you, Austin. Once again, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the greatest, most underrated comic book movie of all time, known as Man of Steel, starring Henry Cavill and
Right
company.
there, Richard Citrone again. Just give him a shout out.
Mm.
You're welcome. By the
Right
way,
there, I'm behind Zod, the
yes,
scientist from Smallville. I'll point him out again later.
of course,
Yeah.
because Tyler knows everything that bugs me. So thank you for joining us. If it's your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any thoughts about this movie or anything about Superman or the DC Cinematic Universe, by the way, that could have been, please let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Love to hear your thoughts about it. What would you have liked to have seen during this movie? What would you have liked to have seen after Man of Steel? Would you have liked to have seen a Man of Steel trilogy, which is what should have happened? Yes.
Or at least Man of Steel 2, for God's sakes.
No, I no. Give him 3 movies and then bring in the rest of the characters.
I'm fine with that, but at least have a Man of Steel 2 before you start bringing in Batman.
100%. 100%. They should have done a trilogy or at the very least a sequel.
Sequel, at least a sequel. But yeah.
With Zack Snyder directing
Because
it.
right here we go
Oh,
with the
100%.
suit. Like I said, I still find it interesting that like he's basically in Kal-El's mind.
This
Yeah.
is what happens when things go bad, Kal-El.
God, that
Where's
black
the
suit is so fucking
codex?
cool, though. Yeah.
Where's the
Right-
codex,
The
Cal?
black suit right there, and he's
Look
like,
at that suit, man.
it's
Dude,
like
that's
you think about it, it's like he's controlling his mind because he's kind of forcing him then to see himself as one of them.
Every
Like, here you
foundation
are.
has to be built on something, Tyler.
By the way, this is some total like T2 opening.
Yes,
scene
I was
right
gonna
here,
say
man,
that.
with the
Like,
fucking floor of skulls and the playground
Dude,
and all
him
that.
sinking
Yeah.
into the skulls scared
Creepy.
me when I saw
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it's creepy.
I thought, is he actually like killing him in his mind? No,
Yeah.
no, Zod.
then look, there's the city in the
No.
back.
Look at the moon too.
Yeah.
No, no. By the way,
Your suit looks
by
good
the
right here.
way, Romello Di Malone, who's been the MVP of the chat so far, like that Nathan Hardy wasn't scared of Feora and didn't care about Zod.
Yeah.
Good point. By the way, he also goes on to say, I would have liked to have seen Michael Rosenbaum, the great Michael Rosenbaum, play Lex Luthor in the Snyderverse/DCEU facing off against Henry Cavill's Superman on screen. Here's the thing. Would that have been cool? Yes. But would it have worked for this movie? No.
No.
No, because that's two very different iterations of the characters. You need to separate the iterations of the characters.
You know who I would have given a shot to play a live action Lex Luthor that would have fit into this universe?
Who?
The man who did the voice in the animated series, Clancy motherfucking Brown.
You know, that would have been cool, but you know who else could have played Lex
where is
Luthor?
he?
They given him the opportunity to do so, Tyler, in Austin? Billy Zane.
I love Billy Zane.
Billy
That
Zane
kid
was
right there.
born
I'm a,
to play
I'm a
Lex Luthor.
Phantom guy. I'm a Phantom guy. Love me.
I
Some
like.
Phantom.
Oh, dude.
Who's the guy? This guy?
Oh, please. I can't. I'm not going to pull it off the wall, but I have a
Oh,
window.
you got a Phantom ring.
Right there. Okay, that guy's from
full
Smallville.
of 8x10s,
Yes.
and I have a Phantom 8x10 signed by Billy Zane. Yeah, I met him at a
Dude,
convention.
I hate you so much. I have a
It's the
DVD movie of his that got no respect when it came out. It was a made-for-TV movie. It was called Bet Your Life. Have you ever heard of it, Austin?
Nope.
Okay, he saw. This is a true story about Billy Zane, and we'll go into Man of Steel here in a second. But Billy
There's,
Zane, who, by the
Samantha
way,
Wu, right? Or Samantha Wynn. She's in all of
what was
Snyder's
she in?
movies. She's in all of Snyder's movies as a
Another
small
Snyder
character.
alumni. That's great. By the way, she's kind of beautiful. Anyway, so my point about Billy Zane is he's a cool dude. And the moment I met him, Austin, you're gonna love this. He took one look at my DVD and he said, "Oh, dude, they didn't even give me a copy of the movie when I was in it. Do you mind if I take a picture of this and post it on my Instagram?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Sure, Billy, why not?" And he did, and I became Instagram famous
Well,
because of that
and
movie.
I got to talk to Billy because he was winding down for the day, but I caught him about 20 minutes before he was about to leave his table to get his autograph and stuff in a picture. And we talked about, because I had a Phantom shirt on. I went there to that convention to meet fucking Billy
Slam
Zane.
Evil.
Because I love Phantom. I'm a huge Phantom fan. But anyways, and I was talking about how he's perfect age to do a sequel now, like to be the older Phantom passing it on to the younger son. Like he's perfect. It's so ripe for it now if they did it. You know what I mean? As be like, the late 50s, early 60s Phantom, and maybe he gets hurt or mortally wounded, and he's got to pass it down to the 20-year-old, new kid Phantom or whatever his son. Yeah, like it's a father-son story anyways, like the whole mythos is. So it's so ripe for a thing, and he's all in. He loves the Phantom too. So, I mean, I think that's cool. He's like a fan of it.
Well, he is a cool dude, and he's trying to help you out. And also, Romello's helping us out by saying, I would have liked to have seen Cavill's iteration of Superman fight Metallo, and I think Ed Skrein would have been a good Metallo on the big screen.
I can see
Ajax. Ajax is Metallo.
Yeah.
Well, he does have the... Yeah, he could probably pull it off. By the way, Romello goes on to say, I would have liked to have seen Henry Cavill's fight Metallo in the Snyderverse DCU, and no. Yeah. Ed Skrein from specifically Deadpool would have made a great Metallo on the big screen. That's what he was trying to get to in his second part of that comment. There you go. Thank you, Romello. Appreciate it.
Tyler, do you remember who voiced Metallo on the animated series in the 90s?
Oh yeah, it was Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, and he was great. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah,
I love the look on Cavill's face when he rips it and then he does the other side. He just starts to turn, and they're like, "Oh trap!"
You know what I love about this movie too? Superman punches people in this movie. It's great.
That's why I say it works.
Finally, Jesus! Because oh my God, we had 30 years of people just throwing each other into things. It's like, come on.
Yeah, for instance, you want to talk about product placement? How about Kal-El throwing Zod Non into the Coca-Cola sign in Times Square?
Yeah, that's cool. Product placement, like I said, don't bother me because that's a way of helping reduce your budget, But it's when it feels like it's very forced. That's when I have issues.
I doubt this is the last time we'll see each other.
Say Travis Miss Lane. Yeah.
Move to your left.
See, yeah.
Was that What's the actress's name again?
Samantha Wynn, I believe.
Samantha Wynn. She's cool, man. She'd be good in some other films.
Dude, get on YouTube. Look for Zack Snyder's Snow Steam Iron. Is a short film that he made that she's the main focus of.
Really?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Dude, send me a link to that. I want to see that.
I will.
Get on that.
I'll do it while we're thinking about it.
Giddy up, man. Is it true what Zod said about Krypton? Strike that panel. We wanted you to learn what it meant to be human first. God, he's so good at this.
God,
I love Russell Crowe should have gotten an Oscar for this movie. I love him so much.
He commands every line of this movie as much as Lawrence Fishburne, who's also in this movie, commands every line of the original Matrix as Morpheus.
Yeah.
By the way, you can save from Cal. You can save all of them. Oh, so good.
Perfect. He's so perfect.
Love Russell Crowe.
Okay, this is a little bit too much of like the Christ imagery. I feel like it's forced. Like, just why would he do that? Why would he float out like that? just throwing that out there, like.
And then he's like, "It's time to get down to business." By the way, Romello says, "I wish Cavill Superman would interact with Laura in this universe." You know, I would have liked to have seen a projection of her too, but at the same time, it's about the father-son relationship in this film. That's what some of the things that they wanted to aim at in this movie. Yeah. But at the same time, he did interact with his mother in previous iterations of the movies. With who was it? Christopher Reeve did. So
in the Lester cut of Superman 2.
That's true. Yep. But I hear what you're saying there, Romello. Very good comments tonight, by the way. Appreciate your thoughts. Appreciate all your thoughts for any and all of you who are watching or listening to this.
See, I like that.
Share this with all your friends.
Where he turns.
Yeah.
As the explosion's going off, so he takes the explosion. And then comes down.
Dude, when he grabs Martha, and I think he's going to, like, break her neck.
Yeah.
I'm like, you better not kill Diane Lane. Like, you just can't. You can't kill Diane Lane. You just can't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She's too attractive. Can't do
See,
that.
I like this.
No, I think she's just too good of an actress to kill off on screen. Like, you just can't do it.
I just like natural lighting, real corn.
Yeah.
Did Zack Snyder specifically film most of this film in natural lighting?
Smallville stuff, yeah. But like as we get in like later scenes, like the Metropolis and stuff, there's not as much. But that's why
I didn't know there was this much natural lighting in this movie.
Like this scene, like right here, this segment, like the Smallville stuff, for most of it is all. That's why I really like this. Just yell his name out loud. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's going to hear you. But then when the cop shows up and she goes back to the farm and says, "Clark, I know how to stop them." I'm like, there's a cop right behind you.
That's why I'm just kind of like, okay.
Where's the ship he arrived in? Oh, she's not afraid of this guy.
All right. Here's my question. Their suits, this is from my friend Zach Moore right here. And I'll give him credit. Their suits are supposed to protect them in Krypton's atmosphere, right? Or are they just breathing through it? Because, like they have powers, but yet they're not being exposed to the environment, or they're trying to survive the environment. Or is it just a breathing apparatus? Like, how do you think it works with them wearing these special armors and masks, but yet still having powers?
Because they're still exposed to the sun. They're still exposed to the sunlight, though. But maybe the suit is actually absorbing the.
Oh, he's angry now, man.
But see, that's another thing. Is like they're kind of exposed, like they're covered. Like,
where's the codex?
And they haven't been here that long.
Boom! I cheered in this scene.
Yeah.
As soon as he starts laying in punches and drops that iconic line here in a second, I started to clap. I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, like, yes. No one touches my family. No one.
Boom, took out 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Great product placement, by the way, guys.
Do you guys like to watch movies and look for gas prices in the movies just to see like what gas was?
Interesting. It's always
I could care less, but the fact that he punched Zod and says, "You think you can threaten my mother? No, you can't do that." I'm like, yes, this is a Superman that actually does stuff. Like he's putting actions to his words. You know what I mean? Like, you can't touch my mother. I love that. When he beats up on Zod, I was cheering in the theater. Like, I was clapping when I saw this. I was like, yes, this is a guy who's a badass.
I always think it's interesting how in every Superman story, like he gradually gets his powers, but somehow when the other Kryptonians show up, they immediately have every power all at once. Like there's no gradual.
without it, you're getting everything. And it hurts, doesn't it? Like,
See, the
he's
suit looks
just laying
good right
into
here.
him, man. And then he gets blasted into a truck.
He gets his ass kicked for a lot of this sequence, though.
Yeah,
But then again, my argument is always it's his first day on the job as Superman, so
Green screen suit, though.
he doesn't have a lot of fighting experience exactly yet, and he's fighting characters that can fight back. So
Look at this. Look at
And
this.
he's out-
More
and
fun
he's-
facts.
he's outnumbered as well.
More
But,
fun
yeah.
facts by Romello. He says David Petcow, who plays one of the soldiers that name drops Superman
Yep.
in this movie, he was in Smallville episode 3 as Trevor Chapel and in season 8 episode 12 as Dan Turpin.
yep. I was gonna bring that up. I went to do it earlier, but we were talking when he said something. But I was gonna wait till he said the Superman's in tow line. But I was gonna bring it up then. So
By the way, this sequence reminds me of Superman going up against Ursa and Non in Superman 2.
I love this scene. Like I said, the lighting is great. The camera work is great.
Colonel Hardy is about to take action here, don't you think?
Yeah. He's gonna try to.
Bringing out the big guns here, guys.
He's a man of action. No, I dig that when Feora does her little thing where she's taking out all the soldiers. It's very flashy as far as her like jumping from soldiers, boom, boom, but like actually using the super speed. Like again, we hadn't seen stuff like that in other movies. Like I thought it was pretty fun.
Look at this. This is a fight. This is going to be a fight, but they're getting involved with the gun. So let me get away for a second.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Boom! He goes, but then Non gets hit. So does Feora almost gets hit, but then he gets hit into a lamp post, or a pillar or something. Good hit. Request immediate reattack. Let's turn around and do it again.
This big bastard.
This guy's like 7, 8 feet tall and 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He just tears through him, by the way. Just tears right through him.
I feel very sorry for Smallville.
Yeah, the repair bill was a couple of $1 billion, but then again, Kal-El's from Kansas, so he probably rebuilt it in like 3 days.
Bruce Wayne paid.
Oh wait, Bruce Wayne did. Austin, thank you. Hey, product placement.
IHOP, baby.
By the way, who likes IHOP? Anybody?
See, look.
No,
I just like how
I don't
Pete
like it
looks
either.
at him. He looks at Pete like, "What's up, buddy?"
Pete's like, "Hey, I know you."
Hey, I know that guy. Went to school.
By the way, Feora taunting Kal-El. That's some good stuff. You are weak, son of El.
He's never had to actually fight. That's the thing.
He's never had to fight, and he's never had to battle anyone or anything on this level ever.
Yeah. Well, again, he tries to do hand-to-hand combat, but she's done hand-to-hand. She's Zod's person who does all the hand-to-hand combat for him most of the time.
Throws him into the ground.
So, yeah.
And if history has taught us anything, it's that evolution always wins. By the way, this was the very first shot.
Yeah, they put out
this
there.
was the first shot ever released, telling people, "Hey guys, just so you know, there's a new Superman movie coming, and here's your new Superman." As soon as that
people
image,
going, "What's up with the suit and all the little bumps and the ridges and the?"
And how come he's not wearing? How come he's not wearing red underwear?
So fuck the red underwear. That's so 70s. Like, get the shit out of here. Why would he be wearing underwear on the outside of his suit? I always thought that was stupid. But I no. This more is like it looks like armor. Like, it's cool.
By the way, my first response to that image was, "Oh, this is going to be a very good Superman movie.
Awesome.
Like, this is going to look so good."
I remember my friend sent it to me.
He texted it to you?
Yeah, and it was like loading because I had bad signal. And I was just like waiting, and I was like so frustrated. And that was
what was your reaction to that image?
I was excited. It looked cool and like
cool.
I mean, it hadn't been that many years. At the time,
it was
it was 5 years after Superman Returns.
Yeah, 2011, I think, or 2012.
When the image came out, it was in 2011 because originally this was supposed to come out in December of 2012.
Oh, and then they pushed it.
And then they pushed it to June of 2013. Part of it was because the Dark Knight Rises had made so much money.
Yeah, they didn't want to compete with that.
They wanted another big win the next
in 2013.
year.
Yeah. Good thing they waited.
I mean,
it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it's definitely a summer movie. I mean, I remember they marketed it like with the whole angle of being like a Father's Day movie.
It came out June 13th, I think, originally. Yeah, right before Father's Day. See, he's not your enemy if he's saving people. Get out of the way. This guy's about to punch me. Boom, right into the car.
He even asked him, "Are you okay, dude?"
You okay? Yeah. But yeah, no, the first look image, I saw it on the internet. I thought, I need to download this, put this on my Facebook, and say, we're getting something different, and I like it.
I'm pretty sure I made it the background of my laptop right after that.
Oh, that was your wallpaper?
Oh,
That makes
100%.
sense.
Yeah.
By the way, Tyler, was that your wallpaper for a time?
But here's what I'm talking about. Like
I
the
had
flash kind of stuff. Boom, boom, boom,
Symbol.
boom, boom. Like I love that stuff. Climb down. Like her darting around. Like I love that shit. I remember sitting in this fucking theater, dude, and like this whole shit is going on, and I'm like, finally, fucking Superman is throwing down with some other Kryptonians, and this is like they're fighting, like legit fight, not throwing each other all over in the building, whatever. Like they're fucking fighting. Like, this is the shit. This is all, and only got better.
This is like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I've been waiting for.
This is what I've been waiting for from a Superman movie, man. Like I was going nuts for all this. I thought this was great.
Dude, he keeps firing at her, and nothing's happening. It's like, nope, you can shoot a 9mm at me. You can throw like an AK.
Well, my gun didn't work. Let me pull out my knife.
Yeah, but she has one too, though. So it's like, hey, you want to fight with a knife? We can go, man.
I'm surprised the bullets didn't even damage, like if they would have shot like towards their masks and stuff.
By the way, throws him right into a train. I love that. It's like, hey, faster than a locomotive? Guess what? You're not faster.
He punched him into a train. Like I said, punching people. Yes. Finally. Boom! Knocks him right.
What's this line? Dude. A good death.
A good death is its own reward. Yeah.
And then he throws it right back at her like 45 minutes later.
Yeah.
Boom! Throws her into the cement. Gosh, it's gotta hurt. What does they say in the movies, Austin? Just a bit outside.
Just a little outside, Bob Uecker. Yeah. Just a little outside.
Like her thing.
You got to put an emphasis on the just a little outside.
I like that this movie doesn't have kryptonite.
Yeah, there's no kryptonite in this, Austin. Oh, throwing a diesel engine right into his face, and then he throws. By the way, product placement for Sears, guys.
Brian, it doesn't need kryptonite. I brought my own. It's fine.
By the way, our good friend Romello chimes in here for us, Austin. He says, I like that Superman is having trouble fighting Feora and Non, well, the person who we think is Non. But y'all think that hologram Jor-El could teach Kal-El to fight in combat or martial arts? The reason I asked this question is because Jor-El did fight Zod on Krypton and was wondering, could Jor-El have taught Kal-El how to fight?
From the point where he suits up to this stuff is like a couple of days. He's had no training yet.
Yeah.
He's had no training yet.
Yeah.
And it's literally like literally when we say when people this is like his first day on the job, it pretty much is his first day on the job.
It's his first week on the job, really.
Yeah, first like this from when he suits up to this thing, it's been
like 3 days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 3 days tops.
So this is why this is why it's a good thing the movie wasn't even called Superman. It was just called Man of Steel because it's an origin story.
He's had no training at all. Like this.
By the way, this shot was in the trailer, and this was cool. It's like, hey, my father believed that the world wasn't ready, but what do you think?
Well, it's like the Man of Steel was used because it was supposed to emphasize more of like the aspect of the man, like the human, the human ethnics, the person that he is before becoming the like his ascent to the icon that we all know.
Yeah.
By the way, what do we think about the score in this scene?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's perfect.
Come on, I listen.
Come on, Austin. Come on. So good. By the way, Romello says he agrees with us. It was smart not to have something known as kryptonite in this film.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have brought in kryptonite until like the third movie.
Well,
honestly,
we wouldn't go down those rabbit holes.
Tyler, if you want to say something, just say it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that goes back to like what the sequel should have been, where they were going to go. I mean, you can't do the battle that they in without kryptonite. You know, like you have to have that to go down the routes in which they went.
Do you think kryptonite should have been introduced in part 2 or part 3?
If they had done a trilogy?
Yeah. How many? What do you think?
I think part 2 works because it is a staple and it is like a good way of creating it with the fallout from the world engine. Because even if you hadn't done the BVS, just done a straight sequel, you still could have done, and that's why you could have got to Metallo.
I don't mind them finding it as part of the
nice
the world
suit,
engine in the water, you know, in BVS. When they find it, like in the water as part of the world, like I'm fine with that. And obviously Luthor, like, you know, having the means to find it, that's fine. But yeah, that could have been like a Luthor versus Superman thing in Man of Steel 2, you know, as opposed to throwing Batman in there as well. You know, he could have just done Luthor and Superman and, you know, whatever. And,
Zod said this codex can bring my people back.
Well, and you're talking about you could, if you had to have another villain besides Luthor, you do the kryptonite to create like a metallo.
Metallic, yeah.
Metallo,
and,
yeah.
And it works. You know, you can do
Metallo,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that
By
was
the
a
way, hey
fight, and
Clark,
then
I have a police officer with me. I know how to stop them.
Yeah, that was always one of my things in the movie. Like,
Why
they're
would
at
you
the
say
kid
his
house.
name? You're supposed to say Superman, not Clark.
well, and the fact that we've never had, at least in
Jeez.
live action, a version of Brainiac is kind of a crime, you know, because he's kind of the big one that we
That's a
never.
question though. Who could have played Brainiac if a Man of Steel trilogy was made?
Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem?
He's
Hmm.
always been because he has such a uniqueness to him. He can be compassionate. He can be creepy. He seems kind of otherworldly sometimes when he
Okay.
projects his acting.
Yeah,
I think he
yeah.
could have been a very unique,
That's an
interesting
interesting
Brainiac.
take on Brainiac there with Javier Bardem because he's a very capable actor.
Dude, I had the whole pitch worked out years ago. We pitched it before they
Oh, yeah.
and everything on an episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Like what we do as a sequel and stuff. And he has been my cast pick since then because I was like, he just has this uniqueness to him that I think's amazing.
Well, for those of you just joining us, Austin, where are we in this incredible
Well,
film?
we are at the 141 and 50 seconds mark of this movie. We're about 2/3 of the way through. We're winding it down here, and about the end of the third act here in the home stretch. As they're sending down the world engine to try to.
Oh, don't you mean the hype engine, as the meme likes to tell us on the internet?
Yeah, right. So
Release the hype engine.
yeah. So
By the way, for those of you joining us, yes, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel. If you want to watch it with us, queue up your copy on a physical media or a streaming service. Watch along with us. Share your feelings, positive, negative, or otherwise, about anything and everything Superman. Because, by the way, Superman turns a very healthy-looking 85 years young this year. By the way, happy anniversary to the Man of Steel himself. Superman is a character. And I love all your comments. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're joining us live or on the replay, thank you for being here. Romello says, I think Ray Fiennes would have been a good Brainiac on the big screen there, Austin.
that's not bad either. You put him in like the outfit, maybe a little green makeup or something, man, or something like
Ray
that.
Fiennes
I
could have
see
done it.
that. Ray Fiennes is a hell of an actor. So
By the way, how about this, though? What do you think of
I love
Liam
this
Neeson
guy.
as a Superman villain?
As who?
Could be, I don't know. Maybe not so much Brainiac, but maybe... I don't know. I just came up with Liam Neeson for no reason.
I don't know. I'm
why.
just thinking. Like,
Liam Neeson's a great actor. He could do anything he puts his mind to, but... Liam Neeson.
I love these shots of just like... I remember them talking, like Goyer talking about they wanted to treat this like a First Contact alien invasion movie.
Well, it's
like, this shot right here is
mix
great.
of like First Contact and like Independence Day a little bit, like a little bit of both, of like everybody stopping what they're doing to see the ship come down, and then even the same thing. It's like Independence Day with the beam coming down from it too. You know what I mean? And causing the destruction. Yeah.
I just like how that just looks crazy.
Look at all the water coming up, though. Aquaman would be ticked off if this were happening. But he doesn't show up until the next movie as a cameo.
Yeah.
Where he's stabbing the camera with his trident. Which, by the way, Lex Luthor, that's how you're able to find all the Justice League guys? By having cameras in all these different locations? I mean, you are a brilliant criminal mastermind, but at the same time, you're not a 16-year-old kid. Oh, man, the casting of Lex Luthor was terrible. It's one of the worst castings in Hollywood history.
I get what they were going for.
No, you don't, Tyler, because it's one of the worst casting decisions ever made.
Well, see, there's clues in it that he's Lex Luthor Jr. You can argue for. Like, they sprinkled some clues in there.
He's
like
Luthor Jr. I don't mind Jesse Eisenberg as an actor. I think.
I think he's terrible.
He should have just played. He just should have played his Zuckerberg role. Like, he was more Lex Luthor when he was Zuckerberg.
Because there was a scene in Social Network where he talks about like the it's raining now scene where he's like, you don't have my full attention. You have part of my attention.
Like, you have the minimum amount.
I saw a little bit of Luthor in there. Like
that's what I'm saying. That was a better Luthor role.
Yeah. I see a way he could have played it, and I think it's just it got kind of lost in the shuffle. But I think in the glimpses we get of him in like the Snyder cut and stuff,
right
and
here
at the end of BVS, like it's not bad.
Superman's in tow.
Superman. It's the alien service. It's what they're calling him, Superman.
That was Turpin in Smallville, right there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So that's how Superman got his name, folks. In this movie, this is how Superman got his name, which isn't a bad thing. It's just mentioned in passing. You don't have to make a big deal about it. It's a phantom drive. It bends space.
I don't know why. I just don't like that line. Like the whole reading and that like delivery just sounds. I don't know.
Hey, I will say this though.
Like a black hole, like as if we all know black holes.
Well, it's because the way Henry's saying it, it sounds like he's reading from a manual.
Yeah. Which isn't his fault.
Like,
it's not his fault.
He's like, if we could do this, we could turn it into the thing, into the gravity, you know, da da da. And it's like he's reading from the script, like literally just like right off the paper.
It's not his fault though. But I will say though, that shot of his suit was really good. That suit is so good looking.
Yeah.
Hey, if they start making that thing like more like Krypton, what's going to happen to you? I don't know, but I'm not. That's not going to stop me from trying. You may want to stand. You may want to stand back.
But maybe this Superman doesn't save anybody or help anybody. No.
Maybe a little bit more. You might want to stand back. Yeah, I honestly, if I were a casting agent, I would have cast somebody else as Lois Lane in this movie.
I will say, I do like the casting that she's older than him.
Mm-hmm. Is she older than him though?
Yeah, Amy Adams is older than him.
How much? By how much? 5, 10?
It's something like it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Is she like literally? Is she a decade older than Kal-El in this movie?
I don't know if it, but like I just like the idea that she's older.
But she's older though, for sure.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought she and Cavill were around the same age in real life.
I think Amy's older than him.
She was born in 74, and Cavill was born in 86.
Oh my gosh, that's a 12-year age.
Hold on. No, he's born in 83.
Oh, 83. So that's a 9-year age difference.
He's 40 now.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't know she was a decade older than him. Wow, that's crazy. She doesn't look it. Amy Adams, you got the right genes, girl, because you don't look a day over 30. At least in the movies I've seen her in. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just me. Well, some people just don't want to. Some people just don't seem to age. I don't know. Zod's trying to figure out how to hone his senses.
Because he's smart, like
with the X-ray.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on a minute. Give me a second.
He was like, I just like the idea of like he was genetically bred for like adaptation to be the greatest like soldier to protect Krypton.
Now he's looking at his hand.
No, because I love his post monologue when the engine goes down. He's talking about, you know, I had this sole purpose and you took that from me, you know, and now I have nothing and I'm going to take every single one of them away
now I have no people.
Yeah, no people.
He's so good at his monologues, man. By the way, Romello says, I think Cavill's Superman suit looked best in that cameo in Black Adam.
It is the Man of Steel suit too. Like he straight up said, it is the same one he wore in Man of Steel. Just the lighting and everything on it. It looked good.
By the way, I wish I had a replica of that suit and in a casing at my home so I can look at it every day.
The Cavill suits are the only. Well, the Cavill and Tyler suits are the only ones I have not seen up close. Like I've seen all the other suits.
Well, they had the Batman exhibit at AwesomeCon in our nation's capital, DC, a couple years ago with all the Batman movies and all the Batman suits, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm looking at Val Kilmer's suit.
I wish they would take that kind of stuff on tour to some of the big cons in every state.
Well, AwesomeCon is a big con.
But I'm like, just travel every state. Like,
okay.
As like a big DC kind of con thing or something.
I agree. Yeah. Why don't you let us look at the other DC suits too, not just the Batman suits?
I mean, they did stuff for when this came out because it was the 75th anniversary, you know?
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
Stuff.
10 years
and
ago.
Like,
why didn't they do that more though?
Well, what I liked is they had Brandon Routh's suit in Cleveland as part of a big display.
Exhibition?
Yeah, at the Cleveland Public Library to celebrate Superman a few years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we went up to there and checked it out.
How was it?
It was awesome. It was the Cleveland Library with Superman stuff sprinkled throughout the whole library.
Oh,
of, like the history and artifacts. Like they had Jerry Siegel's typewriter.
Oh man,
from the Siegel Schuster Society.
Damn.
Dude, that's awesome. I wish I could have been there with you. Boy, Metropolis is getting pummeled. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that the next movie takes place 18 months after this. And granted, Kal-El's a great hero, but it's like, was he really able to rebuild all of that in 18 months?
Well,
that's incredible.
Part of it, do you remember all that like marketing was like Wayne Corp and Luther Corp stepped in and was like rebuilding the city. And that's why you have that whole like ground zero that's empty where they build the park and everything. Mm-hmm. They got grass to grow, you know.
Heroes Park, I think it was called.
Yeah, Heroes Park, which is like one of the big set pieces for the entire series.
Well,
Like,
that's why I always like the stuff that they would do with Luther occasionally, like that I have on my button and stuff where he kind of rebuilt Metropolis as a way to campaign for president, and to like take power.
yeah,
It's like I was like, hey, look at what a good guy I am. I stepped up and led the process of, and then he uses that as stuff like that. Superman always causing destruction as fuel for his like campaign of like these outsiders are always causing mayhem and destruction and we need to rein them in and stuff like that. It makes sense that Luther would do stuff like that to kind of be the human perspective or whatever and portray himself as the hero. Like that always made sense to me, and I wish they could have done something like that. I mean, they allude to him stepping up, him and Wayne, like kind of the efforts to rebuild Metropolis in this movie. But yeah, I always like the presidential stuff, though. I always thought that was interesting.
Something tells me you're a big Lex Luthor fan. Oh, wait, you're wearing a shirt. By the way, Romello says, I wish Brandon Routh would have had a Kingdom Come based Superman series.
I agree. And I asked Romello, did you see the end of Titans? I will not say any more if you don't respond.
Is there a Kingdom Come reference in there? Is that it?
No, there's at the end of Titans, Superboy finally meets Superman. And it's just kind of like you see the cape and the boots and the camera pans. I would have liked a Brandon Routh cameo right there. Because I feel like he could have easily just done it real quick and then you wouldn't have had to like explain it. You just would have been like, oh, it made sense. He's Superman. Let's go.
By the way, who was the actor to play Superman in that sequence?
Nobody. It's a stunt casting because you don't even see his face or nothing.
Ugh.
Like
just like they did in Shazam. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
pretty
The Shazam
stupid
thing at the end where you don't see his head. You just
he just sits down at lunch with him. Yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Do you guys like this scene? Like him fighting the World Engine?
I think it goes on too long.
I agree. I feel like he should have got close and did like it should have been like he got close and then this happened. Because I feel like it was an allusion to Brainiac that we never got because it felt very Brainiac esque.
Yeah, it's. I think it. Yeah, you don't need as much of. I think it gets dragged out. I like this stuff with Perry.
I do too because
because it shows he's a good dude. He's on the ground.
Romello says, "You mean the faceless Superman scene, Tyler?"
Yeah. Like I said, just boots and cape.
Because I mean, he still would take a minute to get back to Metropolis from where he's at. Near India. So I mean, it would take a while. You could have wrapped this up a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I can see both gentlemen's points of view on this, but
it's more because I just want to get to him fighting Zod like man to man.
Yeah,
because that fight is freaking awesome. I know.
Yeah, because I'm just waiting for that to happen at this point. I'm just like, come on, get to him fight Zod. Like, yeah.
But I mean, this is cool.
Perry going back to save Jenny and then Lombard helping him. I'm like, okay, but it makes it look like you're going to kill off Jenny and all three of them, but it's the first Superman movie. You can't kill off Perry White. You just can't. So. Pretty much figured they were going to be rescued, but at the same time, it's like, oh, this is getting closer. This may not work out too well.
Yeah.
By the way, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White was great. By the way,
I do dig the opening of BVS.
That's right here
with Ben Affleck driving.
Oh, dude, yeah, reflecting back on what happened in Man of Steel. That was a great way to open the movie and connect the movies.
Great music during that again with the Zimmer score. It's great. I love that perspective of it. I dig it.
Now you know why Batman hates Superman so badly.
Yeah.
It's a great way to open that movie.
Oh,
I thought it was. I didn't know they were going to go that deep, but they went deep, man. I think the first 10, 15 minutes of BVS is fantastic because you see how he becomes Batman. You see his parents. And by the way, his parents getting murdered in that slow-mo was fantastic. And the score. Zack Snyder, well done, man. Well done.
I love how his eyes doesn't leave Jenny at first. Why it's stopping behind him. He's still looking at her. Yeah. And that, like I said, it gives you a sense of who Perry really is as a character in this.
He did it. We're green. We're go. Drop it, Guardian. Drop it. And setting up for the job.
Once again, right here, if he is Martian Manhunter in this scene here, he is negligent and he's just as responsible for everything that happens.
No, I 100% agree. I don't think he's Martian Manhunter here. Like, there's a missing something, or that
I told you, just let me direct 10-minute short film. I got this.
Yeah, Tyler knows what he's doing. By the way, they used a similar sequence to him reaching out for the sun in Superman Returns.
It's a great classic Superman. Like, I love these close-ups. Like, you know, and
He needs the sun. Look
he's
at the
got to
sun, Jor-El.
he's got to
Yeah,
power up, you know,
look at the
before he can
sun,
take
Cal.
off.
Power up. What are you, a Power Ranger? I'm
He's
kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna-
kidding. I'm
he's
kidding.
gonna-
I'm kidding. By the way,
dude.
Power Rangers turns 30 this year. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Do you never just reach behind you and go for your power morpher and then realize you're a grown ass adult and that it's not
Yeah.
really there? Like,
Yeah, I do. I do. I've done it before. Even though I do
Yeah.
have the Legacy Morpher, and I also have the Legacy Zeonizer from Zeo.
see, I would like to have the legacy morpher. I don't know why they don't make Power Ranger belt buckles. I feel like that's just simple, easy marketing. I have, you know, 3 different Superman belt buckles.
Yeah,
But
but
a
when
Power Ranger belt
wouldn't
buckle-
that give away your secret identity if it was right in front, right there? It's got to be around back underneath the shirt. See,
I'll wear my
otherwise it
belt
gives
backwards,
away-
whatever.
I'm just
See,
saying,
look at Tyler. He
yeah.
knows what he's doing. By the way, Romello says, "Did you guys catch the Christopher Reeve cameo when Cavill Superman's looking up at the ship?"
I have heard that and I've seen
I've
people
never
talk
been
about
able to
it.
see it. I've never been able to.
And
see
I've
it.
had to, I've looked at free streams and I'm like, I get it
I
to a
don't see it.
point,
I don't see it.
but it's never been really confirmed that it's a real thing and
No.
not
Right.
just
Well, Romello was asking a question.
I
so
think
there you
people
go.
are seeing what they want to see. And
They're
that's
reading
the
too much
thing.
into it,
Yeah,
Austin?
you're
it
reading
is
too
a
much
very
into that.
interesting it
Because
is a
I
very
look forward
interesting
to,
thing.
but I've
You
never
can
been able
kind
to
of make
see
an
it.
argument for it, but I can see why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
All right, here's
Oh,
the
he just
stat
went
here.
through the ship too. Oh, this gets serious, guys. If you destroy the ship, you
destroy
Krypton.
Yeah.
Krypton had that is
Hey.
oh
He takes a second, man. He takes a second.
Because he is a child of
Yeah.
2 worlds.
Yeah.
You know,
he
he
gets
was
it though. He gets it.
Uh-huh.
It's like Krypton had its chance. It failed. And there goes your ship. AKA your Fortress of Solitude. But guess what? You repair it and then you put it back in the Arctic 2 minutes later.
Dinosaurs had their shot, and nature selected them
them.
for extinction. Okay, they were destroyed by deforestation or the building of a dam. You know, dinosaurs had their shot.
I
Now,
just-
see,
I don't-
I'm trying to get back into your recent Jurassic Park thing.
I don't understand.
See?
I bring you down here to defend me against these people, and the only person I have on my side is the blood sucking
Blood-sucking
lawyer.
lawyer. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah. Here I am now.
This is
talking
like,
to myself.
This is cool
chaos
because
Yeah.
she can't fly.
uh-huh.
Like, so
Emil Hamilton figures out why the machine's not working.
I'm a little disappointed that he dies and he just didn't do much.
Dude, they kill everybody in this movie. Like they kill off Hardy, they kill off
Oh,
Hamilton.
they went
Like,
to
isn't
Will
Hamilton
Hunting.
kind of an important character?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Richard Schiff is like the unsung Sean Bean, where he just dies in all of his movies.
He's the unsung Sean Bean. Oh my god, I never thought of that. Because doesn't he die in Jurassic?
Oh yeah, he died. He gets ripped in
He
half.
gets ate
in
by
Lost
2
Boys.
T-Rexes.
Yeah,
Like,
they rip him in
Oh
half,
man,
yeah.
that's nasty, dude.
No, he has a gnarly death in that movie. Yeah,
He has an early death in that movie.
a
Ugh.
gnarly death. Yeah. It's
Oh, gnarly. Excuse me. It's like
They
halfway
grab
through
him-
Lost
They
World, right?
grab him by the leg. It's after he
Yeah.
pretty much saves him, but he gets grabbed by the leg. They toss him up. The one tosses him in the other's mouth. They rip him apart and eat you.
Ugh, that's gross, man.
Yeah.
Breaks the guy. Look at Feora breaking the guy's neck,
Uh-huh.
snapping that neck.
Hit that button. Boom.
He pushes the key.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there it is. Pushes the key into the machine.
Death is
A good
own
death.
reward.
Is its own reward. And then she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" R.I.P. Colonel Hardy and who's the other one? Emil Hamilton. Thank you.
Yeah.
Boom! Look at
are
that
they
shit.
dead or did they go to the Phantom Zone?
They went to the Phantom Zone probably,
Yeah.
which means they still end up dead.
Well, it sucks for any human people that got sucked into the Phantom Zone too.
I like how she's falling just outside its reach.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Romello. I meant to bring that up earlier. We were
Romello
talking
says,
about
"I'm fine with
characters-
Lois's hair, but I would like to have seen what Amy Adams looks like with the black hair in the DC cinematic
Yes.
universe."
because
Yeah.
I'm big on characters' hair. I know it sounds crazy, but
There
like
was
in
black
comic
hair?
books,
Mhm.
in the comic books, like it's such a big way of discerning characters. Like Lana's always been a redhead, Lois had black hair, but then we
Yeah.
get to Amy Adams with her red hair, and then we've never had since Stacey Heideck. We have not had a redheaded Lana. Like
Yeah.
all the major Lanas since her have been,
And
you know,
just as they land, Ramper, we have just passed the 2-hour mark of Man of Steel.
woo!
As we are bringing it into the home stretch, as Zod's about to throw down with Superman here, just a little bit past the 2-hour mark.
Here at the
Watching that Man of
10th
Steel.
anniversary of Man of Steel. If you're just joining us, don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you have any thoughts about this movie, positive or otherwise, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. More than
I've
happy
been
to take
like-
them as they come in. And if this is your first time with us, thank you for being here.
I think it's. I would have been like, okay, there's you know, there's a lot of people probably needing help. We don't be wasting time kissing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of this the romance was forced, and it was pushed on us too quickly. I think that only matters when you're kissing a human.
That line would have been cool like earlier or something. I don't know, but like right here, like
They say it's all downhill after the first kiss, though.
I disagree, but whatever.
This
You
is
disagree? Wait a minute. You disagree with the romance here?
That's
you
such a
serious?
cool shot. of how-
Michael Shannon here. This delivery that he gives is so
It's
he's
deep.
he's so defeated, but but so motivated at the same time. Now, he's so good here, man. Like,
Look at this.
he's one of my favorite villains ever. Like,
Look at
Yes.
look at this.
So good. He's so good.
We could have rebuilt
Yeah.
in this squalor.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, no, he's so good.
I exist for the greater good of my people.
When people go like, "Oh, why didn't he just do something with him or capture or whatever?" It's like, because he says right here, "I will not stop until I kill every single one of them and take them all from you." Period. End of story. He has no purpose.
Now
That's all he's going to exist to do now.
You know
I
what?
have no
Like,
people.
It's
The thing is, like people, like the writer Goyer, he wrote it the way he wanted to. They did it the way they wanted to.
yeah.
There's always a way to write around it because you can change things, but they were writing it for a certain purpose
Mhm.
about the character and what they were going to do. And whether you like it or not, I get it. I think it should have been addressed a little bit more in subsequent sequels, but we really didn't get the sequels that
Yeah.
we wanted. But there is an edit that comes up later that I absolutely hate.
Humans you adopted, I will take them all from you one by one.
You're a monster, Zod,
Yeah.
and I am going to stop you.
Yeah.
By the way, Romello goes on to say, I agree that the romance in this film is forced, but I do think that Cavill and Adams have great chemistry. I don't know about that. Don't know about that.
It's better than Kate Bosworth and
Yeah, but you can say that about any movie. I'm just saying, like, Cavill and Adams, do they have great chemistry? I don't know if it's great chemistry, but they have a little bit of
But again,
chemistry, but
I
not
love
great.
the alternate view of this that Bruce Wayne sees in the opening of BVS when he
sees
this
it all,
laser scene,
man.
like
Yeah.
going through the building right here because that's what he watches. Is this
He
part?
is-
Oh, and fucking, I love that shit where he does the thing, but he just floats there above. Oh, fucking so great! Like that's exactly what it should be. Like, they just did it right in this movie. Like all this.
By the
shit.
way, everyone thinks that like millions of people die in this movie. Listen, not everyone is in those buildings, okay? Like they evacuated as soon as they saw the ship touch down. So it's not like he's killing billions of people in this sequence.
And here's my other argument. If you hear that there's this alien ship that threatens everybody on Earth within 24
I love
hours,
this.
I think you're going to get a lot of call outs at work the next day.
Okay, I hate this right here.
The truck?
No, that he goes between it, doesn't stop it, and then it blows up and just keeps blowing up. But like the building just crumbles.
Nobody's in there.
You don't know, man. I'm just saying, like,
garage.
that's just one of those scenes that bugs me.
All right,
Because he could have easily stopped it.
He could. No, I agree with you 100%. But like, there's hardly anybody in that building.
It's a parking garage.
Yeah, he didn't kill anybody in there. Oh my goodness, this is a throwdown.
Dude, when he rips off his like armor in a minute, like
Because he's so ticked. Like he is just so ready for this.
Yeah. There's
only one way this ends,
says
Cal.
Either you die or I die. He even says it. They foreshadow it right there. Either you die or I die. Period. They say it right there.
It's one way or the other.
God, that bear crawl up the wall. It's
boom.
God,
He's
damn.
just going.
Dude,
He's going.
every time they hit and there's a fucking consequence.
LexCorp. That's like,
boom.
is that the fourth?
Dude.
That's the
There's
third.
LexCorp.
Yeah.
That's the third LexCorp reference.
Look at this.
Yeah.
It says there's been 160 days since the last incident on this building.
Yeah. And then this is one.
Boom.
Here you go with the armor rip.
He's gonna rip
man.
it. He's
just
like
ripped
the
his armor off.
Terminator. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
It's like Hulk Hogan.
Trained my entire life to master my senses. Where'd you
Where did
train
you
on
tra-
farm? That's so
farm?
great. So great. He's so good.
That's why Michael Shannon was perfectly cast as Zod. I think. Like I didn't know much about the actor, but when he played this role, I thought, dude, this guy is a seriously good actor. He's
And
going.
he's like, I'm gonna
that's-
fly now. Fuck
and
you. You know, like it's great.
And that's why, like, going back to Kevin Costner, like, to me, he was good. Like, at the idea, like, I didn't see Kevin Costner. Like, I knew him, the movie star, whatever, but I could see the character. Because sometimes it's like you see the actor over the character.
Oh God, that's the best.
They're just. By the way, this is an idea, Tyler, for the movie you were talking about earlier, right? The sequel. Well, not the sequel, but in later movies, if Clark Kent and Bruce, like if Bruce Wayne had figured out who Kal-El, like the whole deal, I think the first thing he should have said when he met Superman or Clark Kent for the first time is, "You owe me a satellite."
Nice.
I would have loved to have. That should have been the first thing that Bruce Wayne says to Clark Kent.
I like this right here, the way like
He swings him. Yeah.
He swings him through his cape, though. He doesn't grab his
but
body.
you see the symbol in his eye as he throws him.
Yeah. Boom, boom,
Oh, I didn't catch that part, but because it goes so fast. Wasn't there a Batman poster in one of those buildings?
No, but on the satellite it says Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Well, yeah, dude, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, are they hinting that there's like going to be more
Batman.
movies with these characters?
It's Wayne
Right there.
right there.
See, there it
And
is,
that-
Wayne Enterprises.
And they added that late in post production.
Yeah. It's perfect though.
I love it though, because like I said, if Bruce had shown up in a sequel, before they maybe not throw down his Batman v Superman, but if they knew who each other was, I would have said,
Okay,
"You owe me a satellite," and then he would have said, "Well, why don't you help rebuild Smallville?"
watch where she's at. Like this is one of the things that there's another LexCorp. It's our last.
she's like miles away.
Yeah.
But then she's
That's
able to get there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's another one of those things that kind of bugs me. I'm like,
Hey,
all right.
Tyler, you know what they call that? It's called movie magic.
Yeah. I get that, but I'm
It's
just
called
saying.
movie
But
logic,
it's literally
Tyler.
like 2 minutes later she shows up here. Yeah, it's very weird.
If you love these humans so much, you can mourn for them. By the way, Romello goes on to say, so people are fine with Reeve killing Zod in both cuts of Superman 2, but they have a problem with Cavill's Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, I don't know why you people think Superman doesn't get... Dude, he killed in all the Christopher Reeve movies.
I listened to somebody say that they never saw Superman 2 like as if he killed them. He's like, I just thought they knocked him down. I'm like,
no, he killed him.
I'm like, wow. Like I always just thought he killed Zod. Like, okay.
Stop, don't do this.
Yeah.
Stop. Never.
Damn.
He had to do it.
Fatality.
He had to do it, though. He had to do it.
I don't mind it as like a growth point. Like this is like you said, it's his first day on the job.
It's like third day as Superman.
And like the idea is like he killed Zod here. It's gonna haunt him and bother him, but because of that, he chooses not to kill and move forward to find a better way. Like it's part of his character arc and growth.
Yeah.
Even though like he
And it's the opposite again of the Batman in BVS who doesn't give a shit anymore.
Dude,
about
he
killing
kills
people,
everybody in
he doesn't give a
BVS.
fuck. Yeah, but he's fed up with it because you take the canon of that, it's after Robin has died, and so he goes off the deep end. He doesn't give a fuck about not killing anymore. So
Okay,
because, by the way,
he
Batman has
doesn't care
killed in the
anymore, and
comics,
Superman
right?
does.
Yeah.
100% he's killed.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this right here between him and Lois.
Yeah.
I hate the next scene.
No. Yeah.
What,
I
in the
think
planet?
I think no. I think this is a disrespectful scene right here.
Why? Oh, this one
Yeah.
with the satellite?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like you go from that deep moment.
but they're looking for him, man. He doesn't want to be found.
I just think you could have done this way better.
Okay.
Well,
By the way,
I just think, the line is corny too. Though I just think he's kind of hot.
Yeah, that line is a horrible line.
The Ferris interaction didn't need to be thrown in there.
Yeah, I don't mind him having another scene with Swanwick at some point, saying like, "Hey, look, like I'm on your side. I'll be here to like protect Earth or
But
whatever."
it has to be
you
on
know
my
what
own
I mean?
terms.
Yeah, like I don't mind this. The theory behind the scene of him talking to Swanwick and like smoothing things over and being like, "Listen, bro, like
I agree
just leave
with
me
that.
alone. I will help you." You know what I mean? Like that's fine.
How do we know that one day you won't act against America's interests? I grew up in Kansas, General.
Yeah.
I'm as American as it gets.
Yeah, I like the theory behind the scene, but yeah, it's just kind of awkwardly done.
I'll explain. Like as you look at how this scene goes into the next one with him and Martha, you could have kind of incorporated this. I think in that kind of segment of like the cuts where they're talking or something like that.
I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news here. Romello says in the
Should
chat,
cut right here.
I hope and pray that Cavill's iteration of Superman and Sasha Calle's iteration of Supergirl at the end of the Flash movie. I hope and pray that
I
they
think
meet.
I got spoiled already. That Cavill ain't in that movie, man. He's not.
Dude, it's not happening. Believe me, no one on this earth, nothing would make me happier.
I would love it.
I think an emotionally clean slate of going from him crying and like to this kind of like the panning over the cemetery is a much more cleaner way of moving from killing Zod and moving forward.
Well, yeah, and them just being upon Kent's grave, and yeah, it's just it keeps on the same tone, yeah, and just a quieter moment, yeah,
He
it works.
saw Clark. Believe
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
What does that mean? Dun dun dun
Okay, another
dun.
thing that I thought about, like I would have liked if Russell Crowe's character would have wore a red cape.
Mm,
I've always thought like because they did
okay,
it in the comics, and he takes it off and he wraps it around his kid when he puts it in there,
that's true.
because then it would have cemented this idea. Like with this scene, he has a memory of his father. It's a
Mhm.
subconscious memory of seeing his father, his real father. Because other than that, like why would he wear this cape and run around? Like who's he imitating here? Like what's he doing?
Some
There were
other,
comic books. There were
some other
comic
comic
books.
books and superheroes and comic
There were
books, you
comic
know,
books,
like,
Tyler.
yeah.
Maybe, but I'm just saying like I like the idea. I've always that like he would have this. It's a way of showing like he has this one like kind of subconscious memory of his father.
I have actually. I gotta find a job where I can keep my ear to the ground. I thought. I mean, listen. You can make the argument that everybody knows who he is. He doesn't need the glass. Like the glasses thing is so 1978, but it's paying tribute to the comics, and also I think it's a cool way to end the movie. It's like, hey, he's the
Oh, I love
reporter.
the
Like
ending.
he's a reporter now. This is cool. I like this. He's going back to the roots. You know?
I would have loved if they just made a comment like he's a new intern or something. Like I like
Yeah,
that idea. Like I like the whole way this is done because I
dude, this
always
is
think
so
that
good.
it's because of Lois he gets the job,
Yeah,
or Perry has an inkling that like something about him,
yeah.
because that's how I always interpret it. Like that's why this guy all of a sudden got this job at this paper. Like
It's a good way to end the movie, though. It's not. It's a wink and a nod to the comics, and I love that. This is our new stringer. I want you to meet Clark Kent, the iconic meeting between Clark Kent and Lois Lane. I love it. Good luck, kid. Hi, I'm Lombard. Nice to meet you. Nice to
I
meet you.
just like I said, I just love if he was like our new intern. Like I like the idea of Clark's got to work his way up. Like that gives something for him to do in the next movie as far as the Clark Kent uh, reporter angle.
Mhm.
Boom.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm sorry. I can't help it. The score is
This is my
beautiful.
ringer. Like
It's
from the moment
magnificent. It's in the words of a certain character from the Superman mythology. This score is real and it's spectacular.
Mhm.
So, by the way, Romello says, I like in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Clark was hearing both Jor-El and Jonathan when he's suiting up as Superman at the Fortress of Solitude.
Mhm.
Hmm, that's
yeah,
interesting.
it is a great scene.
That's a fair point. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the credits, the end of the movie, the iconic, underrated comic book movie of all time, known as Man of Steel. So I'm going to turn things over to our panelists, our round table here for just a moment. Tyler, I'm going to start with you on this. 10 years later, movie turns 10. What are your thoughts on watching Man of Steel for its 10-year anniversary? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you going to give Man of Steel?
Ah, man. I think it does age well. There's nitpicks in it, and we've kind of discussed some of that, but like I think it holds up quite well. It definitely is a different way of approaching Superman. But if you look at the character from all of its comic book history and not just go from everything you've seen on film, it does line up with a lot of the comics. It does take its own liberties, like any kind of translation in media does. Um, I still think it's great. And on a scale of 10, I give it like a 8.5 to a 9, somewhere in there.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. I dig it. I dig it. So, Austin, otherwise known as our Lex Luthor of this celebration of festivities, I should say, or I'm just twisting my words. Austin, what are your thoughts on Man of Steel 10 years later? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you going to give Zack Snyder's film a rating? What are you going to give it?
10 years later, this movie still works and only sort of makes me think, 10 years later of what kind of could have been. So I get sad
Yeah.
about that, thinking about it, what could have been with this kind of Snyderverse if they had let him fulfill his vision all the way through and let him do what he think, because he would have done a Man of Steel 2. He would have eventually done the Batman and everything in the Justice League just in time, in due time, instead of any of these characters. But even just as a movie on its own, I contend it's the best Superman movie ever made. Period. I love the approach it takes to it of Superman being this alien, this outsider, I think this movie is kind of perfectly cast for the most part all around. Say what you will about Amy Adams, she's still a good actress. She still does her thing. But Michael Shannon Assad, for my money, one of the best villains and ever put to cinema. I think he's amazing. The side characters are great, Maloney and Lawrence Fishburne. Just everybody that kind of fills out all the side roles. This movie holds up.
Yeah, right there, Whitney Foreman.
It's aging like a fine wine. I think this movie gets better and better every time I watch it. Does it have nitpicks? Of course it does. Every movie has little things you can nitpick to death. It's like a 9.5 out of 10 for me. I have very little quibbles with this movie, and I think it over time people have realized what Snyder did with this thing and his vision. And again, I wish we had kind of continued that and let him do his thing, because I think it's really sad. I think he's been able to salvage what he could from this and made it as coherent as he can with the stuff that he did have control over. But man, give it time, man. He would have been able to set up a universe that I think rivals the MCU 100%. Had he been given the control that he wanted. So not everybody loves it, but it's fine. You guys have 4 Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. You had TV shows, you had everything. Give me my Snyderverse, damn it. I like it and I want more. Always. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. So for me, 10 years later, remember, and I said this earlier on in the show, I saw this movie 5 times in the theater. I've never done that for any movie. Any movie. I've been going to the movie theaters for a long time. And this was a movie that just hit me, and and it just worked in all the right ways. I think the casting worked for the most part. The Amy Adams thing, you can nitpick at that. Some scenes could have been done differently, or maybe the run time could have been shortened by maybe 5 or 10, depending on how you look at it. You can nitpick at that, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna give this movie a 10. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I always have. I always will. This is one of the most divisive films that I've ever seen been discussed on the internet, but I don't care because I love it. I appreciate it. It made me an even bigger Superman fan than I already was. Smallville made me like an official Superman fan, but this movie just like amped it up to 1,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I just love everything about this movie. I wish, Zack Snyder, I know you're watching this. I would have loved to have seen your vision overall for the DC Cinematic Universe, because I do think it could have rivaled Marvel. I do think it would have been nice to see a different kind of universe in cinema. I would have loved to have seen it. Mm-hmm. Also, Superman should have gotten 3 movies with Henry Cavill and then continue on with the spin-offs and the other movies like Batman and Green Lantern and some of the other characters you want to bring in from the DC, because the DC universe has decades and decades and decades and decades of history that you could have pulled from, right? Mm-hmm. So, Zack, I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm sorry about the tragedy that affected your family. I'm sorry to hear about the creative differences and the behind-the-scenes issues that went on.
They did you dirty, Zack. I'm sorry. They did you dirty.
They did. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm glad that we were able to see your director's cut of Justice League. Too many slow-mo shots, man. Okay? Too much. But I do like some of that stuff in your Snyder cut, no offense. But at the end of the day, I think this is a great take on the character. I think it's different, and that's what I wanted. That's what we got, and I love it. I appreciate it for what it is. I wish we would have gotten more sequels with you, Henry. We love you, man. We wish you the best with your career endeavors moving forward, because Lord knows you got a mountain full of people that are going to want to work with you in the next 50, 70 years that you're going to be alive on God's green earth. So we wish you the best. I want to say congratulations to the entire cast and crew of this movie, because Man of Steel did put in some Easter eggs of things we could have gotten, things directions we could have gone. But I like what we got in this movie. If you've never seen it, watch it, give it a chance. It's a good way. It's a good entry point for Superman. I think it's a good entry point for someone who's interested in reading comics, because comics have been around for decades. There's a lot to pull from, a lot of different creative teams out there. Go to your local comic book store, visit them, buy some comics, read up on Superman, because there's so many good things. And by the way, Superman is a more relatable character than I think a lot of people think. So
I agree. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, Tyler, you and I have had 1 or 2 conversations about this, and I know you may we should probably get Austin involved in this. We should have even more discussions about this moving forward. But honestly, this has been a great movie anniversary watch along. I hope you who are watching or listening to this have enjoyed this. If this is your first time with us, we appreciate you being here. This has been a lot of fun. Romello has one more thing to add to this. He says, I'll give Man of Steel 2013 a B+. I guess that's like an 8, maybe an 8.5. I don't know. It's my 3rd favorite live-action Superman movie, and I like Zack Snyder for what he did with the character of Superman as a new take. I like that he didn't try to make the Superman like the Christopher Reeve movies. Henry Cavill is great casting as Superman, like Amy Adams' portrayal as Lois, but Michael Shannon was a great Zod for the modern era, yes. And the Kents were great, and Russell Crowe was great casting as the character Jor-El. Lawrence Fishburne was even great as Perry White, and I think there's more to that, but I think he got cut off there. I can't see the rest of it. But
he probably was saying he wished, like us, that Zack Snyder could have at least continued his vision.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, even if you're not a fan of Snyder in general, or even the Snyderverse,
right.
I think most people agreed they did him dirty, taking over kind of his vision, his creative control, where he would have gone with the character.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
But just too many people trying to rush and be like why do we need to catch up with Marvel? Marvel's had
we don't.
Years on. Who cares? You didn't need to do it slow. Take your time. Marvel took its time with all of its stuff. You know what I mean? Like obviously, and still made plenty of movies over the course
15 years.
You could have still farmed out stuff like because I like Wonder Woman with Patty Jenkins at the helm. You could have still farmed out stuff, but stuff that still tied in and made sense with the vision.
Sure.
There's no problems at all.
There's a million ways you could have done it.
There's so many ways you could easily have done it if you just take your time. These are amazing characters: Batman, Superman, essentially the
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, just a great rogues gallery of villains from the DC universe. There's so many amazing villains you can really dig into, and it could have absolutely been something that rival. And I hate that every couple of years we start over again. It's like we never get to really see the thing all the way through. It's like, because you could argue, wherever the MCU is now, the Infinity Saga, essentially you could have ended with Endgame and it would have been an amazing vision overall, like from start to finish. You know what I mean? Like you could have ended there and fine, and they would have seen the vision through. We never got to see that with this universe. I think he perfectly sets up so many elements here in this world and this unique vision of these characters. And the fact that we never got a follow up. I know we're diverting like far away from Man of Steel, but like it's just a rant I always talk about. That I just there's a multiverse to tie it in maybe with the Flash out there where they did take their time and Snyder did get to fulfill his vision, over course of years, 10, 20 years. You know what I mean? Realistically, so I don't know. It's a shame, but you see the pieces of it, here and there in these movies of what could have been. But I still appreciate the movies for what they are. You know what I mean? Like I can still like them as entertainment.
That was an elongated speech.
Yeah,
no, it's fine. But I appreciate your because you have feelings. We all have feelings, right? Tyler, did you have something to respond to that though?
I just wanted to say, like, before it gets too late, we forget. To everyone, tomorrow, happy Superman Day.
Yes,
tomorrow, Superman Day tomorrow.
Yes.
So
I'm excited.
I want to throw that out while we're here live talking with everybody. So give everyone a shout out for that.
Hey, I'm ready, man. I was born ready. I have another Superman shirt in the closet. It's sitting there in my wardrobe.
Lex Luthor Day.
Well, listen, this needless to say, this has been a great event. This has been a lot of fun diving back into this movie, Man of Steel. If you've never seen it, give it a watch. If you've never read a comic book featuring the character of Superman, go and read a comic. There's so much fun. There's so much to pull from. And for those of you, if this is your first time, thank you so much for being here. So, Tyler, where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media, everything you have coming up? What do you got, Tyler? Because Lord knows you got a lot of irons in the fire, man.
Oh, that's true. You can find me at Krypton Report on any social media platforms and anywhere where your podcasts are. You can find Krypton Report there. We talk mainly Superman, but we talk all DC Comics, films, and everything. And like I said earlier in the cast, we have Flash Week going on. Every day we're dropping a Flash-centered episode with special guests from other podcasts, just kind of covering certain elements of the character's history and different live action versions that we've experienced in animation and everything. So check that out.
Fantastic, man. Thank you for being with us. We greatly appreciate it. And Austin, also known as Lex Luthor in this equation. Where can the good people of the internet, I can't believe, why am I laughing?
I'll get to my, my shows.
Where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media, Austin? What's on the docket for you?
Yeah, well, in real life, yes, you can find me in the theater Thursday at 3:00. Weeping at the loss of the Snyderverse finally with this release of this Flash movie and what could have been, and the birth of the what I'm dreading of the James Gunn universe. I'm sorry, I'll get into that in another time, but yeah, in another reboot. But anyways, as far as currently, you can find me mostly on YouTube as part of the Movie Hero Network. Just search Movie Hero Network. on YouTube. I host a lot of shows over there. We have tournament fights, tier ranker fights, podcast league now, a podcast about movies. That's what it's called, a podcast about movies. The Lonely Marks Wrestling podcast, all kinds of different stuff you can find. New show called Wheel of Movies, but all kinds of stuff you can find over on the Movie Hero Network, where I am on most of the content over there. So just come find me over there, Austin Pez Howell on Facebook, if you want to connect with me there as well. There you go.
Fantastic, man. I appreciate both my panelists for being here. See, this is one of the reasons why I love doing these shows is I get to share my passion for a character or property with other fans, and we get to talk about it with other fans. I love doing these sorts of things, even though Tyler's coming down with something in his studio. I don't know what.
Oh, I'm getting over this, man. This thing's been lingering for weeks.
But listen, on a serious note, thank you to each and every single one of you who watch our things, who comment on them, who like them, share them. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Follow us on all forms of social media. All the links to where you can follow me and my fellow panelists are located within the description of this video.